They're getting a little warmer out there today. Get a little meltage going on. And this is the period that starts the anticipation. I hate the 2 weeks that lead into the Super Bowl because you got to figure out some angles. You got to go here. You got to go there. The anticipation is really difficult when you're anticipating the big prize. Like, what do you do for the next 2 weeks? You have to kind of put it on the shelf and, like, next week, bring it back up. Come down to go up as the Eagles are in the Super Bowl. Now, I don't think we take inventory of this because we always look at the worst things that can happen. But in this 8-year stretch, the Philadelphia Eagles have been the gold standard. You remember when Jeffrey Lurie said that way back in the day? The gold standard. You remember when Doug Peterson said it's the new norm? Now, he was just, talking out of his buttocks. But the new norm is pretty accurate because the Eagles have been the dominant team maybe in all of football when you put it all together. They don't have a Super Bowl championship for a while, but they've got the Super Bowl win in 2017. They've got 3 NFC titles, 4 NFC East titles, 7 playoff berths, 2 head coaches and 3 quarterbacks in that span. Listen, we got to call it the way we see it. The Eagles are a supreme franchise, and I guess you got to give a lot of credit to the owner, even though I don't really take inventory of the owner, and you got to give a lot of credit to the guy he decided to ride his horse back with in Howie Roseman. I know Joe Banner would like to take credit for the Howie Roseman thing because he says he's the guy who hired Howie. He took him under his wing and the whole bit. But is there anybody out there, even the most negative people who expect the worst, that can actually sit down and say, you know what? They've kind of given us all that we've asked for. They haven't given us a lot of Super Bowl titles, but who does that? The Kansas City Chiefs do that. They have given a season of excellence almost every year. So Bill and Ray, they're both here with me here. We got to acknowledge that today.
Yeah, we do have to acknowledge it. And you're right. When they said that this is the gold standard, and when Dougie P.
Why did he say that? He said that way back when? In 2000?
I think it was way back when. And you got Dougie P. saying this is the new norm.
Yeah.
It has been. I mean, this is now their 4th Super Bowl appearance since 2004, right? They were there in 2004, or is this the 3rd? 3rd. No, 4th. Yeah, I'm even forgetting. 2004 they were there, 2017 they were there, 2022, and now 2024. So it's their 4th one. But you look at that, there's only 3 teams who have been to 4 Super Bowls since 2004. And there's only one NFC team. It's the Philadelphia Eagles. The other 2, as expected, the New England Patriots and the Kansas City Chiefs. But there's one major difference between the Patriots, the Chiefs, and the Eagles. The Patriots have multiple Super Bowls. The Chiefs have multiple Super Bowls. It's time for the Eagles to get that 2nd Super Bowl. No longer am I going to just be happy with getting there. I'm not happy anymore. 2 years ago, I was just happy with being there. I was just happy that the Eagles had a great season. They got to win it this year. They have to win it this year. To be the true gold standard, with all of the success that this franchise has had in the last 20 years, they got to win it now.
Bill, you're not wrong, as someone wise said on this show. But again, I look at this and I go, they have gotten to the plateau that I expected them to get to, or that I didn't expect them to get to early in the season, but I expected towards the end of the season that they would get to this plateau. Are the Kansas City Chiefs better than the Eagles? I don't know. The line would indicate that they are. The line would indicate that they have a Super Bowl pedigree, that they know how to win. I would not be devastated if they lost, but I agree with you that now is the time to win and shake up the world and end this Kansas City Chiefs thing and this Andy Reid thing and this Patrick Mahomes thing and this Travis Kelce thing. Good God, retire and go into the night with your girlfriend and get out of my face type of thing. But I am totally satisfied with where they are now. And if they lose that game and the other team proves to be better than them, I can take it.
See, the thing for me right now is you match up the Eagles and the Chiefs, and we'll break this down over the next 2 weeks, but the Eagles are the better team on paper, except for one spot, the Mahomes magic. That is something that you can't put. You can't calculate what Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid have been able to do. They just find ways to win. But when you match up the numbers, every single category, the Eagles are better. They're a better defense. They're a better offense. They got a better rushing attack. They've performed better this playoffs as far as creating takeaways and not turning the ball over. They've done better in almost every single category. But the Chiefs have that. They have that magic. But here's why I think they have to do it. You're saying you'd be okay if they were to lose.
Listen, the way the game would play out, if they lose because they made mistakes, then obviously I'm going to be devastated. But if these two teams go head to head and go straight up, and at the end of the game the Chiefs win by 3 points or whatever, it's not going to rip me apart. It'll be disappointing, yeah, but it's not going to rip me apart.
See, here's where I would think I'd be a little bit ripped apart. As young as this team is for the Philadelphia Eagles, and you expect them to get there again in the next few seasons, we know in the NFL there's no guarantees. There's no guarantee of, is this team healthy next season? Does Saquon Barkley have another season like he did this year? Are they able to re-sign a lot of these guys on the defensive side of the ball? Zach Bond, Milton Williams, Mekhi Becton on the offensive line. Are other teams going to get better? And we also know if they lose this game, that the Super Bowl hangover is real. We talked about the Super Bowl hangover 2 years ago, and look what it resulted in. It resulted in one of the worst collapses we've ever seen in professional sports. So that's why I look at this as saying this is such a great opportunity. You can't waste it.
Of course,
they have to win this game.
Of course, it's a great opportunity.
But you don't know when you're back.
Well, but here's the thing. What's the most important position in sports?
Quarterback.
It's the quarterback. The quarterback is a magic man. So when you look at it and you go on paper, you go, the Eagles are better in every category. You're not factoring in that the most important player on the whole team, on the whole field, is that guy.
Yeah, you can't quantify it. I mean, you're right. You can't quantify. Look, it's
like to the third power. He makes up 75% of what your team is.
The fact that the Kansas City Chiefs have now won 17 games this season, and the first time they scored more than 30 points was last week is mind-blowing. You think about that. They had not scored more than 30 points until the AFC Championship game, and this is a team that's 17-2.
Well, there's something special for that. Look, listen, I don't want to get I don't want to go to the other side here. I definitely want the Eagles to win, and I think they can win this game. I'm just saying that if they lost to a better team, it's like if they lost to Tom Brady, what am I going to do? Am I going to beat my head against a brick wall and smash my skull?
Well, they did lose in 2004, and people didn't forgive McNabb for that.
But they also didn't lose to. They did. He did beat them, right? So I go, well, okay. Well, if you lose to that type of team, you lose to that type of quarterback. How devastated can I be? But that's the wrong. See, I don't want to. That's the wrong way to go here. So you talk me into that. You go so crazy that now I have to add balance.
I just want to see them. Look, NFL stands for not for long. We have no idea.
Oh, no, does it, Ray?
How this
Ray,
team,
I never heard that. Not for long, does it stand for?
So there's no guarantee this team's back.
NFL stands for not for long?
Win it this time.
610-632-0975. That's how you get into the Mike Missanelli Show. We got a lot of things to do today, including, I got to ask this question as we go into the break. Have you Hurts haters withered and faded away? Have you withered and faded away? Have you Sirianni haters withered and faded away? I got to know, and you got to purge it. The Mike Missanelli Show, 610-632-0975. Back after this.
Andrew
Mike Missanelli Show, 97.5, The Fanatic. Tuesday, and we got a lot of days to build up before the Eagles take on the Kansas City Chiefs and Andy Reid in the Super Bowl. I heard Andy throwing bouquets to the Philadelphia Eagles and their personnel and their management and their coaching staff, as only Andy can.
Yeah, I mean,
and we'll hear.
Don't expect anything.
We'll
less
hear from
him.
Andy Reid today. The sound of Andy Reid. The morning guys had played that with Andy, talking about the Philadelphia Eagles, and there's a lot of connections still with Andy here. Although it seems like forever since he was last here. He's created a whole new paradigm for himself.
Yeah,
Do
and
we remember him really as an Eagles guy?
it's hard. But you think about it, the Eagles they're on their third coach since Andy. We went through the whole Chip Kelly fiasco, and then Dougie P somehow leading this team to a Super Bowl, which is still – it's crazy that Andy never won a Super Bowl here, but Doug Peterson did. Who saw that one coming?
Listen, life worked out better for Andy Reid in Kansas City. I mean, that was a perfect city for him.
It was time for a change, too. I mean, there are people there's still fans, I think, who say the Eagles should have never fired Andy Reid. It was time.
Yeah, and look what he's done. He's turned into a personality. His commercials are really good.
Fumblerooski.
Yeah, on the airplane, drawing the fake mustache. Like he's become a darling.
Well, he was able to loosen up. I mean, look, this isn't an easy place to be a coach.
No, it's not easy here in Philadelphia. I mean, but the cheeseburger and the barbecue jokes resonate more in Kansas City than they do here.
Not only do they resonate, I mean, it helps that they've had all that success, but here, you do stuff like that, and then you lose 3 straight NFC championship games, we would have killed him. Yeah. Could you imagine? I mean, if the Eagles were losing 3 straight NFC championship games and Andy Reid's going on talking about cheeseburgers and Fumblerooski and making a fool of himself on commercials, we would have ripped him unmercifully.
Well, the only reason he's doing those commercials is because they won Super Bowls.
True, but I also feel like
if he lost, they wouldn't have been having him do the Fumblerooski thing.
No, you're right. But at the same time, I feel like the Kansas City's fans are more like, great effort, guys. We'll get him next year.
He's jolly old St. Nick in Kansas City.
Literally, dressed like Santa on Christmas Day.
And here it was enough. We're more cynical.
We are.
All right. 610-632-0975. We got a lot of calls out of the chute here. Let's start with Muhammad in Sicklerville. Muhammad, what's up, buddy?
Good morning, fellas. How we doing this morning?
Good morning, Muhammad.
Listen, man, first things first, I got to repent a bit. After week 4, I can't lie, I was one of those people, I wanted his head on a spike. I was done after last year, but, this is why, I'm not the owner and the GM. They had faith in the coach, and lo and behold, a lot of us are now eating crow, and, thankfully, I'll gladly eat several servings if he keeps coaching like this.
You're talking about Nicky S. Nicky S. Now, I have a different theory on that. I believe that they really kind of wanted to move on from him after that collapse. However, they said, that'll make us look stupid. We discovered this shiny new toy. We would have to pay a couple of years out on the contract. Let's take a chance.
It was a great chance. I mean, even with the game on Sunday, I finally got some rest. I was up for maybe 30 hours. I didn't sleep until 6 p.m. yesterday. Mm-hmm. I was just too excited. That offense was putting out concepts and plays that I don't even think they run in Madden. We were doing tight end jet sweeps. We were doing concepts and plays that didn't make sense. We consistently ran the ball outside, which we've been doing most of the year, but it was a breath of fresh air. And Vic Fangio, who I love, he turned the defense. But my one complaint was always, why are we always 9 yards on 3rd and 9 off the line of scrimmage? And there might have been maybe like 20 times where I'm watching Quinn inside instead of out.
We lost.
Him.
Wow, that just evaporated there. So let's go back to that decision. Right, it took them a really long time to verify that Sirianni was coming back. Now they hid behind. Well, there was never any question, but there was discussion for 2 weeks. or they would have come right out and said, we believe in this guy and he's staying. They didn't do that.
Well, they never came out and said he was staying.
No, they never did. They bought themselves time.
But at the same time, that's what Jerry Jones does, okay? Jerry Jones, after every season, finds the need to go to the media to say the head coach's job is safe, which signals to the media that you've contemplated that his job wasn't safe. The Eagles weren't going to do that. To them, it was, we're never going to announce he's safe because clearly he was coming back. And I know what you're saying, that you think that they were considering moving on. I'm not sure of what the optics would have been for an organization.
They would have looked
fire
ridiculous.
A coach.
They would have looked ridiculous.
A year removed from a Super Bowl.
But also because they discovered oil. Like they love themselves. We discovered a guy that nobody else did, and that would have shot holes in that had they done it.
But hey, whatever the reason was that they brought him back,
in a lot of ways, listen,
thank God they did.
There's been a lot of acumen and expertise in building this team. There's also been a lot of damn luck. 610-632-0975. Mike Missanelli Show continues.
Fanatic Sports Update.
We have to wait how long? I'm Ray Dunn with this Fanatic Sports Update. As the celebrations from Sunday's NFC Championship game victory fade into memories, we now turn to the long wait until the Eagles and Chiefs matchup in the Super Bowl. For the Birds, it's the third Super Bowl appearance in 8 years, and their second in the last 3 seasons. Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts will become the first head coach and quarterback duo to appear in multiple Super Bowls for the franchise. Sirianni said that first experience has made him hungrier this second time around.
I just thought about the next game, to be quite honest with you. It's like, this is a great feeling. We've had this feeling before, and it just makes you hungrier.
Consider this city starving for that game to happen. It's a long wait to February 9th when it's Eagles-Chiefs from New Orleans. Elsewhere, Flyers won 4-2 last night over the Devils, and the 76ers return to action tonight against the Lakers. You can hear that game right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. This update is brought to you by WorldwideStereo.com. Worldwide Stereo's new trade-in program helps make upgrading your home audio simple and accessible. Trade in your used audio and video gear for superior sound in 2025. Learn more at WorldwideStereo.com. I'm Ray Dunn on the home of the 76ers and the Flyers. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
28. Mike Missanelli Show. 97.5 The Fanatic. You know, I'm reading a lot of stuff about the Broad Street celebrations being more demure than they have been. In fact, Ray mentioned to us that, or maybe he tweeted it out, that like his friends were like a little lukewarm on the let's go to Broad Street and celebrate the fact they're going to the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, I had some people that said, I've done it for the NFC Championship game. I'm cool on this time around. I also know of people that I was in a group chat with that two of them were going back and forth. One said, I was going down to Broad Street, realized I'm good, went back. And then someone else was like, how could you do that? This is supposed to be fun. Let's celebrate. So there's a little inner group chat argument, some strife amongst friends over celebrating.
Well, that said, there were some things that happened. Like a woman drove an SUV through a crowd of celebrating Eagles fans. Did you see that? North Broad and Spring Garden?
Yeah, it was scary. She was arrested. No license. I don't understand. What was the purpose? Did they say what her motive was, why she did that?
No, she did pull over after it happened, so I don't know what she was doing. Also, a man was stabbed outside Lincoln Financial Field at Xfinity Live shortly before 8 p.m. in an argument.
Yeah, it's a wild scene. And the people falling off the poles. I saw today there's a guy on life support, 18 years old, who fell from a traffic light.
An officer was attacked at 700 Patterson Avenue. He was on detail, working detail. And then another officer working a detail at 1100 Patterson Avenue was assaulted during a disturbance. You take on a cop. Really? Like, what are you, nuts?
Especially,
So that's a 20-year-old man, a gunshot wound at 1300 Chestnut Street.
Look, that many people out in a big city like this, I guess bad things are bound to happen. But what's your position on this? Should the city celebrate just getting there?
People are going to do that. People are going to do it, especially in Philadelphia. But we don't need a big reason to celebrate.
Yeah.
Like, that's enough of an achievement to celebrate. You know that. This is a city that bangs pots and pans.
Now, I didn't see on the news, what was Kansas City like after their AFC championship? Did they celebrate? Did they?
I didn't read anything about Kansas City.
See, I feel like in Kansas City, they probably all just...
It's old hat for them.
Great job. Turned off the TV and went to sleep.
This is, listen, let's face it. We take sports very seriously here, especially when it comes to the Eagles. So when the Eagles are going to achieve like that, people are going to go out and celebrate. But according to reports, it was a little more subdued than it normally is, except for these isolated crazy incidents.
Yeah.
All right, let's go back to the phones. Alex in Bethlehem. You're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Alex.
Yeah, hey guys. I have so much confidence in this team and Bill, your guy, Sirianni, even as somebody who was
even.
You know, I was calling for his head, 1 year ago, but what can I say, man? The guy's done a masterful job, and consider how successful head coaches have been in their second Super Bowl, 15 wins, 9 losses. I think having gone through that 2 years ago, understanding the distractions, the travel, accommodating friends and family, right? All of that is incredibly distracting. And I think Nick is just extremely prepared to handle these 2 weeks. And the team is built to win it all.
Yeah, but here's the thing that you probably should include in the equation. The Eagles made him more efficient by making him less responsible. I mean, they took away a lot of stuff that he had influence on and delegated it to the coordinators. Now, he's the guy, like, as the CEO, I get it. That's a special thing. If you can get your team to play that way, there's something special about you. But I think that they really maximized him by diluting him. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, there's definitely some truth to that. But this is the NFL, and these coaches have so many people to manage. And if you need something to look at, let's just look at all the fumbles we caused in that NFC championship.
I don't think he manages the defense at all. I think he manages the offense with Kellen Moore. I think Vic Fangio says, leave me alone. Skippy.
No doubt, no doubt. But Nick always talking about those fumbles, punching the ball out. Mike, there's got to be something to that. Come on now.
Yeah,
Thanks, guys.
but that's a Fangio. That's probably a Fangio philosophy also. Like, I don't want to take any credit away from him because that's Bill's man. Bill gets offended. Bill gets red faced when I try to.
I'm the smartest coach in the world.
Create some Sirianni balance, and maybe deep inside of me, like I still harbor some. I don't know.
But to Alex's point on the turnovers, that is something that Sirianni has preached for 4 years now as the head coach.
Okay.
It's big. They have there's pictures all over the NovaCare complex of how to protect the football, the messaging about how to take the football away. You heard it on the broadcast. When Aaron Burks punched out that ball from Austin Eckler getting up, she said, Nick Sirianni preaches this all the time. When a guy is getting up off the ground, you punch the ball because he's using one hand to get up and the ball is loose.
Do you think any other coach is preaching that as well?
It doesn't matter. What he's got to be.
I mean, that's kind
why
of
does he have to be revolutionary?
Well, it's a fundamental thing.
There's
I get it. I'm
fundamentals.
sure that other coaches emphasize the same thing. We see it all over the league.
But here's what bothers me, all right? And you have that tone still in your voice about they've taken things away from him. It's made him more effective. Why aren't we discussing other coaches who don't call plays offensively or defensively in the same way? Why is it that Sirianni had to be, they took things away from him? First of all,
this show doesn't discuss other coaches. That's why.
But
if
2 years
if we were
ago-
living in a city, I'm sure we would have the same scrutiny for the head coach.
but 2 years ago when they got to the Super Bowl, they had strong coordinators. They had Jonathan Gannon running the defense.
Young, though.
They had Shane Steichen running the offense.
Young and inexperienced.
With Sirianni's input.
It was a very young staff that we saw could fall apart. This is a more seasoned staff that the Eagles selected, and I'll give management credit for that. They say, you're going to have this guy and this guy. That's what they said to him. I mean, let's face it. And if you don't accept it, then probably we're gonna move on from you. I mean, don't you think that that's what happened?
I think that Nick Sirianni also wanted stronger coordinators. Look, this is why when we go back, and I talked about it earlier in the show, that you got to win now because you don't know what happens with the Super Bowl hangover. Remember what happened in 2022 after that loss. You lost both coordinators. You were already now delayed in being able to find good coordinators. They wanted Fangio. Fangio was here. He was a consultant on this staff in 2022. They thought if Gannon leaves, he becomes a defensive coordinator. Gannon pulls the bait and switch on him, leaves after Fangio goes to Miami, and now they're stuck hiring a guy that maybe they didn't want in Sean Desai. Offensive coordinator. The easiest thing to do was to promote the quarterbacks coach, Brian Johnson. I'm sure Sirianni, whether he was told you need new coordinators or not, wanted stronger coordinators.
Okay, that's fair. And that's why I go back to the question. And it's a fair question. Had the Hurts haters, had the Sirianni haters withered and faded away? I would think that they have in both categories. 610-632-0975. Back after this.
Tyrone Johnson.
Show 97.5 The Fanatic. You know, there's a lot of things under the radar that we don't really know about Nick Sirianni. But people on the chat board are informing us. He's deep, this guy. This guy is responsible for a lot of stuff. Bill, give us a sample.
Yeah, the YouTube chat's on fire right now about Nick Sirianni. Now, they're quoting me as being the one that says all of this, but Nick Sirianni invented AI. If not for Nick Sirianni, Microsoft would be Radio Shack.
Correct.
Nick Sirianni was critical in returning the Apollo 13 astronauts home safely.
This is stuff you have not brought up yet on the broadcast, Bill.
Nick Sirianni was involved in the invention of the lithium battery. There's a lot of good ones on the chat right now.
This is what you do to people.
Hell yeah.
This is what you do to people.
Oh, where was the funny? Someone said that Nick Sirianni worked closely in developing the polio vaccine.
Correct.
If you had just treated this like, yeah, Nick Sirianni's a good coach, there wouldn't have been this thing. Instead, you got Nick Sirianni sits at the right hand of the Father.
Nick Sirianni came down with Moses holding the Ten Commandments.
There you go. Now we're getting religious.
See, and look, all season, I've had a pushback on the Sirianni hate because I felt like the hate was so overblown that I had to overhype my love for the man. But at the end of the day, when you take a step back and you look at Sirianni's 4-year coaching career, the fact that people still question him blows my mind. And we don't ask what other coaches do. And the fact that people...
We don't care what other coaches do.
Yeah, but other CEO coaches don't get questioned like this, even nationally.
Well, how do you know that?
Because they don't.
How do you know that the reporters or the city on Sports Talk Radio doesn't question the coach like we question it?
Well, because it's also
we
national.
have to be a little more passionate and engaged.
Because it's also nationally, where other coaches... Look, I'm going to bring up my favorite one. Dan Campbell. The guy doesn't call plays on either side of the football, but he is universally praised and is a finalist for Coach of the Year. But Sirianni, it's still, what does he do? And I think people, first of all, if you've ever played football, you understand that there's a lot more that goes into being a head coach than just calling plays, especially for a professional football team. There's more that this guy does for this team.
Listen, man, I get it. Unfortunately, like he's done a couple things that are always going to be freeze-framed in people's minds. Like, for me... It's always the when he did the head mugging.
Yeah.
You know, and he did that. And I go, well, what a douche. Like, that's a douche move.
Well, he's doing things that most coaches don't do.
That thing. Yeah.
Where he looked at the camera,
Yeah, bobbed his head in the camera.
It was
I can't get rid of that in my head. I really can't. You know, I've forgiven a lot of stuff, like bringing the kid to the thing, whatever. Yeah, jawing with the fans in the front row, that's fine. But that mugging... I go, that's a douche.
He doesn't carry himself like a lot of people want their coach to carry himself. He reformed.
You know, since that bye week where somebody said, listen, dude, you got to be a little more mature here. You got to look a little more mature. I think he's done that. So he's won me over to that respect. It's just that mug and freeze frame meme thing in my head, and you, working with you every day, puts me on, like this alert.
Listen. What I look at, because people are already saying in the chat, well, what are the things he does that are important? Listen to the players speak. Listen to players, even like Saquon Barkley. Cam Jurgens gave a great interview. Watch some of the highlights following the NFC Championship where Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is hugging Sirianni crying. It's things like that. It's the way he connects with these players and then in turn gets them to connect with each other because a team is more important than the individual. And he somehow gets his message through. We may not like the way he carries himself, but the players do. The players respect it, and they perform for him. You can't deny anymore the level of success that he has had in 4 seasons. The fact that he's the only coach ever in his first 4 years to go to the playoffs and 2 Super Bowls is insane. And that the fact there's still fans who want to know what the guy does. There's still fans who want to know what he does, who come at me like, oh, you just love Sirianni. You must be related to him. No, I like winning. I want my team to freaking win, and they're winning. At
so much good.
A rate we've never seen before.
Listen, look, he's getting crazy now, right?
Because the YouTube chat's getting under my skin.
It's crazy. And see, when you get crazy, you spoil it. You don't realize that when you get crazy, you spoil it. 'Cause people
There's
then go, now I want to. He's so obnoxious about this that I want to find a reason to hate Sirianni.
There's a lot more of a Nick discovered gravity when an apple fell from a tree. Nick came up with the forward pass. Guys, why don't we chuck it down the field? Nick pushed Neil Armstrong and really stepped on the moon first. Nick is really Luke's father.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Our chat board's going crazy today. Chris in Plymouth meeting. You're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Chris.
I'm here.
Yo, go ahead, buddy.
Thank you. I'm on. Thanks. Appreciate it. Mike, I just you inspired me to call during your opening statements when you said that you're okay if we lose to the better team.
Yeah, I've always been that way.
Right, but I'm like, show me where there is a better team.
Well, who's favored?
It doesn't matter to me.
Well, it should matter to you because people are evaluating who the better team is. Otherwise, the Eagles would be favored.
The people that are coming up with that, I guarantee you are not watching every second of Eagles football like I am.
The smartest
like
people in America are coming up with that line. The smartest evaluators of football come up with the line. They're the smartest people on earth.
Okay. Well, I don't know if they watch more Eagles football than us locally.
Dude, you're provincial. This is your team. You evaluate them in your head a little differently than somebody who's evaluating them. I'll make this point. Now, maybe the Eagles are better. I can tell you this, that they're not favored in the game, and they have this all-world quarterback who is magic. Now, if you don't think that matters on how good a team is, then I don't know if you're paying attention. The quarterback is the essence of football.
Absolutely. And they arguably have possibly the best one ever to do it, and I get that. And I get Andy Reid. And I get that they're in a position to do something that no other team in the history of the NFL has ever done, which is obviously the three-peat. You know, I understand how good they are. I understand how well coached they are.
Let me ask you this question, Chris. Why does it offend you if somebody would say that the Chiefs are a little better than the Eagles? Why is that offensive to you?
It
doesn't matter when the game's being played. It doesn't matter. We're just talking about it right now. Like the Eagles could go in and win that game against the Chiefs, but why do you get your back up when somebody would dare suggest that maybe the Chiefs are a little better?
Well, and this is nothing personal. I'd like you. I've called the show before. I really enjoy you guys. But it's not just anyone. It's you. You're here.
Listen,
you're here.
But I'm not, Chris. I'm not a fan like you. I evaluate what I think is the most honest approach and what's the most logical approach. I'm not telling you that the Chiefs are better. What I'm saying is they might be better, and if I see that in the game, I would not be disappointed. That's all I'm saying. It's not meant to offend you. It's to give you my honest opinion. I'm telling you that if a team, if I use my two eyes and I go, well, you know what, that team was just better. Now, when it came to the Phillies, I thought the Houston Astros were better. I didn't get all cranked up about that. When the Eagles lost the Super Bowl to the Patriots, I go, they lost to the Patriots. But when you lose to a team you should beat, I get livid. They shouldn't lose to the Arizona Diamondbacks. They shouldn't have lost to the Mets. That's where I go crazy. They shouldn't lose in NFC title games against the frickin' Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Carolina Panthers, and the Arizona Cardinals. Did you hear me then? I'm pretty easy to read. 610-632-0975. Back after this.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Wait, how long do we have to wait? I'm right done with this Fanatic Sports Update as the celebration from Sunday's NFC Championship game victory fades into memories. We now turn to the long wait until the Eagles and Chiefs matchup in the Super Bowl for the Birds. It's the third Super Bowl appearance in 8 years, their second in the last 3 seasons. Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts will be the first head coach quarterback duo to appear in multiple Super Bowls for the franchise. Sirianni said that first experience has made him hungrier this second time around.
I just thought about the next game, to be quite honest with you. It's like, this is a great feeling. We've had this feeling before, and it just makes you hungrier
Consider this city starving for this game to happen. It's a long wait to February 9th when it's Eagles-Chiefs from New Orleans. Elsewhere, Flyers won 4-2 over the Devils last night, and the 76ers return to action tonight against the Lakers. You can hear the live call of that game right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. This update is brought to you by Indeed.com. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. Indeed-sponsored jobs feature helps you stand out and hire fast. Start at Indeed.com/credit. I'm Ray Dunn on the home of the 76ers and the Flyers. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
The new norm. Eagles in the Super Bowl against the Tennessee Chiefs, although Paul got really upset with me just now because I said I wouldn't be that disappointed if they lost to a better team. And so he got offended that I would dare suggest that the Chiefs are a better team. Well, I mean, listen, I don't know who the better team is. Maybe in the Super Bowl, Eagles go in and beat the crap out of them. And that Chiefs thing. And I hope that happens. But at the end of the day, if they lose to a quarterback like Mahomes, what am I going to say? Like, they blew it? Like, this guy's got a pedigree beyond belief. He makes plays when you wouldn't think that when you think you got him, he makes a play. I don't know how he does it, but he does it. They got some kind of magic. So it would be a monumental victory for the Eagles to beat this team, and I hope they do.
Yeah, I think we all hope that they do. But you're right on this. I agree with you. I mean, I said this earlier. I think if you match up the rosters, the Eagles are the better roster in pretty much every single spot, but they have Mahomes. They have Andy Reid.
And that counts for more than just going one-to-one against
you can't quantify it.
Yes.
You can't quantify it. And, like, when we were going into the NFC Championship game against the Commanders and people were nervous about Jaden Daniels, as good as Jaden Daniels is, he's not Patrick Mahomes. Dan Quinn and Cliff Kingsbury aren't Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo.
So, and that's the other thing. Like, if I had a quarterback like Mahomes here, and I'm not trying to take away anything from Jalen Hurts, because he played his butt off last week, and maybe he does that again in the Super Bowl. But, like, I go, okay, Spagnuolo apparently knows how to play this guy. He confuses him with these exotic blitzes. Like, my comfort level with that is not as high as it would be against somebody else. That's all. That's not to say it wouldn't happen.
But, and again, not discrediting the Mahomes magic or Andy Reid or Spagnuolo. The difference this year, though, the difference with this Eagles team, you could try to scheme up all you want and try to stop this rushing attack. At the end of the day, it becomes just about a physical thing. You're not going to be able to stop the run. You're not going to be able to dominate the line of scrimmage against the Eagles' offensive line. And you're not going to be able to stop Saquon Barkley if the Eagles keep feeding him the football. So that's where the one difference for me from 2022 to 2024 is they still have Mahomes, they still have Reid, they still have Spagnuolo, but we're coming with Saquon this year. And that's a major difference than what you had in 2022. As good as Miles Sanders was, he's not a generational talent like Saquon Barkley is.
Exactly. So Spagnuolo can do all the exotic blitzes he wants when it comes to the quarterback. What's he going to do against this guy? Because nobody's been able to stop this guy. Well, what is Spagnuolo? Some kind of an AI guy that has the secret to stopping him? Yeah. No.
I mean, they did have a top 10 rushing defense this year, but
they did. How many times did they face Saquon?
Yeah, exactly. 0.
Uh-huh.
But so far this playoffs, the Chiefs are giving up 148 rushing yards a game. So the Eagles are going to be able to move the football. We'll see how it goes. But you started the show. You said, are the Sirianni haters and the Hurts haters ready to...
Have they withered and faded away? It sounds like a song lyric.
Withered
and faded away.
So you know my praise for Nick Sirianni. I think everybody does. But I tweeted this out last night about Jalen. You would agree with me that the two biggest games of Jalen Hurts' career to date, Super Bowl 57 2 years ago, and the NFC Championship game we just watched. It's probably his two biggest games in his career. Listen to these stat lines, Mike, in those two games. Super Bowl 57, 71% completion rate, 304 passing yards, 70 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns, a 103.4 rating. Tell people who they're listening to, and I'll give you a stat line from last week.
Look at you. You're listening to WPEN HD1 Burlington, Philadelphia. You always start this long explanation thing as we go into the legal ID. We're a Beasley Media Group station broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities.
So in the Super Bowl, 71% completion, over 300 passing yards, 70 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns, over 100 rating. Last week, 71% completion rate again, 246 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, 110 rating. You could argue the two biggest games of his career were the two best games of his career.
Yeah.
He's going to show up. Winners shine when the lights are brightest. Jalen Hurts is a winner.
Yes, he is. Now, speaking of Saquon Barkley, there are a lot of people saying, where does he rank as far is he the best free agent that's ever been signed in Philadelphia sports. And I just tried to come up with a list in my head. And I got a list here. I got him actually. I have him second on the list.
I can't imagine anybody above him.
Julius Erving.
Before my time. Yeah.
Before your time.
So that's probably why.
Have you ever heard of Julius Erving?
No, I'm saying before my time. So I didn't get to see.
Wait a minute. Hold it a second. Wait, you are aware of Julius Erving,
what I'm saying is, I don't know the impact he had on that team.
Oh, my God.
The
impact he had on this city was amazing.
But what were they
There's
before
a
he got
documentary
there?
on the guy.
What were they like
They were
before he got
terrible.
there? And then he comes, but was it him? When did he sign with the
77.
And when did they win their first title?
They went to the finals the first year.
When did they win the first title?
1983.
So it took 6 years.
Yeah, but still, he regenerated. He was the most talked about man on the planet. All right, you don't agree with that. But I got Dr. J, number one. I think people would agree with that. Dr. J, Barkley, Moses, Rose, Harper. Top 5.
Okay.
Second 5. Wheeler. George McGinnis, who came in with Doc. Cliff Lee, who they wound up re-signing after they traded him. Jim Thome. And now you can fill in the blanks. Because the 4 guys I have left are John Runyon, Jason Worth, Jenkins,
Malcolm. That's what I would have put up there.
And Papelbon.
See, I think Malcolm Jenkins needs to be higher. I still don't feel that this city appreciates what Malcolm Jenkins brought to that Super Bowl team. He was not only a great player, didn't miss a snap, played special teams, played defense. He was the true leader of that football team.
You could put him higher on the list. He wasn't here that long ago.
There was another one you missed.
Who's that?
And I think you're going to disagree with me on this.
Who?
But I think he's got to go down as one of the best free agent signings. Nicky Foles. Even though they drafted him, when they signed him that year, he was a free agent. If they don't sign him, we're still waiting for the first Super Bowl in franchise history. Because there was no other backup that was going to step in and do what he did.
But they drafted him. Like he wasn't a free.
But they had to sign him.
Technically, was not a free agent.
He was.
He was part of the.
They drafted him.
I don't know.
And then he got traded away by Chip Kelly.
The criteria is like that's Cliff Lee criteria. In fact, I'm going to eliminate Cliff Lee. But Cliff Lee wasn't drafted by the Phillies. They traded for him in the first place. So then they signed him as a free agent. So I'll take Lee off of that.
But I think you can make the argument Nick Foles is the best.
Yeah, but Nick Foles was not a free agent. So.
He was.
No, it's not the category. He was a member of the Eagles before he was a free agent. That doesn't count as being a free agent. Free agent is being free. You're free.
He was free.
You're out there.
He was on a different team.
But he was here. He had a pedigree here.
Doesn't matter.
That doesn't make him totally free.
He's still a free agent signing.
It's a classic barroom argument where I pour beer on your head after, like 10 minutes of...
Nick Sirianni may be the
best free agent ever. All right, so is Barkley... Ray, you're a youngin'. You've never heard of Dr. J.
Sorry, who are we talking about?
That's not what I meant. I know who Dr. J was.
Can I visit Dr. J at Paoli? What hospital does Dr. J work at?
Oh, man.
Is Saquon Barkley? His first response is, "Oh, that's before my time."
I'm saying I couldn't appreciate the impact.
The legend of Dr. J doesn't resonate with Bill.
Well, that's just
is Barkley the greatest free agent ever?
I don't think so.
No?
No, I don't think
I
so.
know what you have. What's your list?
I think when you go the Dr. J route, I think he and I also think Harper are monumental moments for the organization that shift them into a period of winning from a down period. Where I think Saquon Barkley, you bring in that player when that moment has started. So like with the Moses, the Pete Rose, those players come in and
push
they
you over
push
the
it to the top. But I think you need that monumental
Harper's
first
the
one
builder.
to build.
Okay, I got it. That's fair. That's a good explanation.
Yeah, that is a good explanation.
But Dr. J, you would have as the number one guy, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess. I mean, I would put like the Harper Dr. J one to me is probably like 1A,
Really?
1B. Well, yeah, because I mean, I think about Bryce where the organization was at. Like now, it's become all Bryce's buddies. Like this is just kind of the friend club for him. But like I think about where the organization was at. If you don't get that,
Nah, you're right.
like
You're right
we
about
like the draft picks they've made because they've become complementary pieces to what they've built.
But wait a second. Saquon Barkley, I think, is 29 yards away from the all-time record for most rushing yards in a single season, both regular season and postseason. If in 2 weeks, Saquon has another unbelievable football game, leading the Philadelphia Eagles to a Super Bowl victory in his first year coming here as a free agent, we're still going to put Bryce Harper above him, who hasn't won a World Series.
Or Julius Erving, who played here 10 years. Like you can't ignore longevity.
I would say with that argument, Dr. J definitely has to be over Harper because of the ring. But but I look at it so much more as the transformational moment of an organization than just like this was a good team. Barkley pushed it to a great team. Barkley also has that great team around. Like Harper came here and he was playing in an outfield that Nick Williams was still part of.
You got to learn from the youngin, Bill.
No, Ray's making valid points.
Ray made a valid point. Ray understood the magnitude of Dr. J. You're like,
no, what?
Who was he? What number? 61632.
Is that what I sound like?
Sound like
Spot on.
0975. Back after this.
Andrew Salciunas.
This season is one that we
11. Mike Missanelli show. So, Bill, you got to read the tweet. I don't know if he's confusing you with me.
I don't think so.
This guy. This guy is a guy out there in tweet world.
But this is on my Instagram.
It's your Instagram?
So underneath my Instagram, at Bill Colarulo. So, first of all, it's a video of me praising Howie Roseman's drafting from yesterday. And this is the quote. Ray, I want to know if you agree with this. This guy is the most negative Philadelphia Eagles fan out there, and he has a microphone. It's unbelievable. I used to like him when he was part of Seth Joyner's show, but now he's absolutely unbearable since he shaved his head. Am I the most negative fan out there?
I do take exception with that comment because you were unbearable long before you shaved your head.
Thanks, Ray.
It was certainly not you going bald.
Listen,
I have been supporting this head coach for months.
You have been plucking Sirianni's ass hairs for all year with a tweezer.
So
Pluck.
He liked me when I was with Seth Joyner. He don't like me now because I'm just so negative about the Eagles.
Yeah, that's misguided, man. Whoever that.
Well, I have normally what I get from people is that I'm too positive about the Eagles, and I've responded to some of those people. The team has won 17 games. They haven't lost with Jalen Hurts as your starting quarterback since week 4. Are we supposed to bash this team? Yeah. They're in the Super Bowl. What do you want us to talk about? But you can't win. You can't please everybody.
If you were to remove 5 or 6 plays from like their last 15 games, they might have 2 or 3 losses in there. So I want you to kind of be balanced when you talk about this team. All right.
Well, he'll be happy to hear. I am trying to grow the hair back. It's just taking a while.
I think it's going well.
I'm in that awkward intermediate stage right now.
I think this is solid for you. I think this is good.
It is. You're matching the hair with the stubble. I mean, that's a better look than,
what he had. Yeah.
What do you think about Ray? Ray's got the beard now.
Harrison Ford in Witness.
Oh, wait. Somebody tweeted something at me yesterday, Mike. It was so funny about Ray.
No. We're also going to get to that clip at the news at noon.
All right, I'll save it for that. But
this is the second time this week, too. This Declan Doyle or whoever, I think the Bears hired as their offensive coordinator, I got a tweet. Hey, man, is this you? Do I just have generic white guy face? That's what it is.
Well, you have generic ginger white guy face. I guess.
Every ginger that's getting hired by an NFL team right now, people are, is that you? No, it's not me.
So someone tweeted at me that Ray looks like the new Jaguars head coach, Liam Cohen. You got to pull it up. It's pretty hilarious.
Liam Cohen's got a bad haircut. Ray's at least has a conventional. Well, it's Liam Cohen thinking about with that hair.
What is he thinking about in general? I'm sure Ray's News at Noon is going to give us some entertaining conversation.
We'll get into that in a second. By the way, there might be a caveat on Joyce Irving. I remembered that he was the Nets had to free him up as a free agent when they made the deal to join the NBA in the merger. That he was free to everybody, and the Sixers paid the most money to get him. That's the way I remember it. But maybe somebody's saying that there was a deal made between the Nets and the Sixers.
Oh, so technically he wasn't?
Yeah, I don't know. I remembered that I remember the Nets had to make him available to any team in the NBA, and I thought the Sixers were the one that paid the most money to get him. That's how I remembered it. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. And if I'm wrong, we have to take him off the list, which makes Barkley the best free agent of all time. Right? Or Harper, that's Ray's candidate. All right, let's go to Washington, D.C., where Jamie is at. Jamie, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Jamie.
What's going on, fellas?
What's up, Jamie? How are you?
Man, I'm blessed more than I deserve. I wanted to mention, back at the end of the season, Mike, you were a big talker of how we were about records and Barkley should go for the record. And ESPN did an interesting interview with Eric Dickerson. He said he would give up a lot of his accolades for one Super Bowl. So, that's the goal of this team. Bill, I don't know why they're picking on you today. I mean, I think that he's the greatest free agent signing with the Philadelphia Eagles, although free agency started with Reggie White. But I love hearing you guys, and I love the excitement. And, Bill, you're a big fan of the bye week. So we got ourselves a bye week. Let's rest that offensive line up. Let's get everybody ready to go. It's business as usual. And how about Nick praising the quarterback? That's my quarterback. Last time I heard that, T.O. was saying in cheers something like that about Donovan McNabb.
Yeah, there you go.
He was saying it about Tony Romo.
Let me just give you one caveat on that thing. How do you know they wouldn't have won the Super Bowl if they allowed Saquon to get the record?
I don't.
Well, that's the whole thing. Like, you can't presume because they kept him out of that last game, they wouldn't have gotten to the Super Bowl. That's all I'm saying.
Well, no, and I agree with you, Mike. All I was saying is that if you don't, the argument was if you don't play him, allow him to get that record, and you lose in the first round, it makes it look like a bad thing. Well, they didn't.
But you're presuming a loss. I'm presuming a win. You're saying if they played him, it would have been detrimental. I'm saying if they would have played him, they would have had both their cake and the ability to eat it.
True. But did you ever think that the NFC Championship would have a third-string running back getting a touchdown in it?
What does that mean? What?
That means that's how well we dominated, how great our team is, and we're headed back into the Super Bowl. We're going against, Andy, and they're the best team for a reason. I agree with you that they're the favorites for the reason. They're going for 3 straight, but they're going to be in white, and we're going to be in green.
He's excited.
Why? Yeah, he is.
I think, Mike, you can look back now and acknowledge resting the starters in Week 18 was the right call.
I can't acknowledge anything. You're acknowledging things that you're just making up in your head.
It was the right call.
Maybe it was to you. To me, I would have liked to see him get the record and still do the same thing. You're presuming that they wouldn't have been able to do the same thing. I'm saying it would have been nice to do both. That's all.
Of course it would have been nice to do both.
You can't pronounce it was the right thing to do because you look at the circumstances of them being in the Super Bowl. You don't know if the same thing would have happened if they played that last game.
Anything's possible, but I do still firmly believe it gave them the best chance to get there by building in a bye week in Week 18 when you hadn't had one since Week 5. And look, he could still set the record. He could still set the record, which I think is even more important than Dickerson's record, which is the most total yards rushing, regular season and postseason. Who cares about the regular season? It's everything combined, and Saquon can do it on his birthday, no less. It's his birthday, Super Bowl Sunday. You saw that. Him and Cooper DeJean.
And if you add their numbers together, you get 59.
Yeah, did you know that? It's what they call an omen, I think.
Listen, man. Criticize me for wanting it all. I'm just that type of guy. I want it all. 610-632-0975. Back after this.
Fanatic Sports Update.
How long's the wait? I'm Ray Dunn with this Fanatic Sports Update as the celebrations from Sunday's NFC Championship game victory fade into memories. We now turn to the long wait until the Eagles and Chiefs match up in the Super Bowl. For the Birds, it's the third Super Bowl appearance in 8 years. Their second in the last 3 seasons. Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts will be the first head coach quarterback duo to appear in multiple Super Bowls for the franchise. Sirianni said that first experience has made him hungrier this second time around.
I just thought about the next game, to be quite honest with you. It's like, this is a great feeling. We've had this feeling before, and it just makes you hungrier.
And this city's going to be starving for this game by the time it happens on February 9th. It's Eagles Chiefs from New Orleans in the Super Bowl. Elsewhere, Flyers won 4-2 last night over the Devils, and the 76ers returned to action tonight against the Lakers. Yesterday's injury report for the Sixers says they'll be without Joel Embiid, Paul George, Caleb Martin, KJ Martin, Andre Drummond tonight against LA. You can hear the game right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. This update is brought to you by Jackson Hewitt. It matters who does your taxes. One expert tax prep. Jackson Hewitt will give you $100 to switch. Limited time offer for new clients. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com. I'm Ray Dunn on the home of the 76ers and the Flyers. 97.5 The Fanatic, 97.5thefanatic.com.
the Mike Missanelli Show. You got the Flyers with a win last night, 4-2 over the Devils. They got a home and home. That's Josh Harris's team. That was Josh Harris taking 2 L's within 3 days.
Yeah, we'll see what they do tonight. The Sixers, man, they be maybe 0 for 3.
And on that note, some pettiness going on. Every other organization in town congratulated the Eagles for their win and getting to the Super Bowl, except
the 76ers.
Your 76ers. That's right.
So we'll see what they do tonight, because under normal circumstances, I think it would be a guarantee an Eagle would ring the bell tonight. Right?
Yeah, the Lakers are in town tonight against the 76ers.
So it'll be curious to see if an Eagle rings a bell, because they did have an Eagle at the Flyers game last night. Mm-hmm. Jim Jackson didn't know who it was.
Yeah, can we play that? I'm glad you brought that up, because there was a prominent Eagle on a Zamboni, riding the Zamboni between periods last night. And so backstage when they were getting ready for it, there was the prominent Eagle sitting on the Zamboni. And here's the way that's play-by-play sounded.
Period between the Flyers and Devils was brought to you by the Pennsylvania Lottery. Pennsylvanians are scratching their way to fun thanks to PA Lottery Scratch-Offs. Players must be 18 or older. Please play responsibly. Also brought to you by your Delaware Valley BMW Center. BMW, the ultimate driving machine. Youngsters preparing for a Zamboni ride, apparently. We're preparing for Intermission Live. Ashland, Scott, and Al.
A couple of youngsters.
Yeah, they are. Cooper DeJean, right?
Yeah, someone had to tell him.
That's right. Highlights and analysis and more.
Someone had to tell him. I was watching it live, and he goes, couple youngsters getting ready for the Zamboni ride. I'm like, he has no idea. That's Cooper DeJean. Jim Jackson, come on, man. Couple youngsters. Because there was a kid on the other one.
He didn't make the right call. It was Cooper DeJean.
Oh, man. Cooper DeJean.
No call.
In Jackson's defense, if you didn't know who Cooper DeJean was, he did look like a 16-year-old kid on that Zamboni.
Well, he does. Yeah, he does look young.
It's so funny, though. A couple of youngsters getting ready for their Zamboni ride. Oh, man. But anyway, so they had Cooper down at the Flyers game. You would expect an Eagle to be in the building ringing the bell tonight. Will Josh Harris say, no? I think they still will.
I can't. I find it hard to believe the Sixers wouldn't tweet out something when everybody else, including the lacrosse team, tweeted out congratulations.
Yeah, literally
to the
everybody.
Eagles.
Even the Empire State Building lit up
Josh,
green.
you're starting to annoy people.
Dude.
I mean, starting. No, you have officially annoyed people.
I said it yesterday. I really think Josh Harris should buy the Celtics and then sell the Sixers to Jeffrey Lurie. Then all is well. We don't need Lurie owning the Celtics. Let's just get this back to one owner owning both teams here in the city of Philadelphia.
All right, let's go to Richard in Marsville. Richard, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Rich?
Hey, happy Monday or happy Tuesday, Michael.
What's up, Richard?
Bill and Ray. You know, like we spoke a few weeks ago, and I was saying, you said we'll have this conversation in a few weeks. We were talking about ranking quarterback rankings, and I was wanted to again. That's just so weird. If you'll give me a moment, I'm looking, and this isn't about quarterback comparison. I was actually looking at coaches' records. Okay, so Andy Reid's been coaching since 1999. We had one Super Bowl appearance in the whole time that he was with our team. Mm-hmm. This is the second Super Bowl appearance in less than 4 years for Nick Sirianni. So the level of success, it's Trump. I wanted to just take a quick second because earlier we were talking about advertising and the Chiefs, and I've had enough of it. I'm so glad that we don't have to deal with Andy Reid, and it's not here that we're dealing with this stuff. So I wanted to state that how glad I am that the organization was able to cut that and see the ability that this guy has, not to do everything correct, but to coach. And I'm not going to – I know there's a lot going on. There's a lot of information that, we digest, and there's a lot that goes on. But seeing the forest through the trees, man, and following this team my whole life, there's a level of confidence again when I think back to Jim Johnson and like, oh, Jim Johnson would just lock it down. Didn't matter who we were locating, who we were playing against. The defense would be so that level of confidence I feel now with the whole organization. And I do think that we are going to take down the Chiefs. I think we're going to win a Super Bowl, man. We're going to be celebrating. I believe we're going to be celebrating the Super Bowl. And I want to thank you, man, for giving me a second.
Listen, Richard, you sound very optimistic about it. I appreciate your optimism. Now, Andy Reid did get to, 5 NFC title games?
Well, again, I'm looking at his record. Over 22 years, look at the record. They've only recently come into – now, this again, well, we're going back to an era where Brady would win, where the Patriots were the persona non grata, no matter what. So there was some parity that Andy Reid, but I'm looking at the record with the Chiefs. He got there in 13. What he's done, nope, it's only been recent since he's had Patrick Mahomes. He wasn't able to do it with Andy Reid. And again, we're just looking at this. This is the
Andy, there's no question Andy has evolved. He was stuck on certain premises about football that he shouldn't have been stuck on. Like, he just did not appreciate linebackers. He did not appreciate wide receivers. He had these little quirks about him.
I mean,
and I think he really changed that up.
But you could make the argument his lack of wide receivers is still there. I mean, you look at, even though they've won Super Bowls the last few years, Tyreek Hill, they shipped out when they had to pay him. Who have they had since? They're doing this with the likes of Juju Smith-Schuster.
Yeah, you're right. He doesn't like problems. So as good as Tyreek Hill was, as dynamic as he was in that offense, Andy, at the end of the day, doesn't like the problem, but thinks he can mold somebody else to be just as efficient.
But to that caller's point.
Except the T.O., where he gave it up.
Yeah, T.O., and that lasted a year.
Yeah, maybe he learned from that not to have problems anymore.
He had one good year. But to that caller's point, and Andy Reid, great coach. He's going to go down as one of the greatest, if not the greatest, especially if they win another Super Bowl, hopefully not this year. It did take him 20 years to win his first Super Bowl. In those 20 years, only one Super Bowl appearance. And it wasn't until he got Patrick Mahomes that he's having this level of success. So as good as Andy Reid is, and he's the GOAT. 4 years with Nick, 2 Super Bowl appearances, 20 years of Andy Reid, 1 Super Bowl appearance.
8-year stretch. 8-year stretch. 3 NFC titles, 4 NFC East titles, 7 playoff berths, 2 head coaches, and 3 quarterbacks in that time frame for the Eagles. So the organization has been built to be buttoned down. And they apparently they did find a new shiny toy in Nick Sirianni, just like they found a new shiny toy in Andy Reid way back when. So maybe they know what they're doing, and I'm an idiot.
Well, we all fertilize. You may be an idiot.
I'm just telling you that the way Nick Sirianni came off, I imagine myself as an executive, and he comes in and he's like that. I would go, here's $3 for a cup of Starbucks. It's right down there. Get yourself some coffee on the way to the airport.
Yeah, but
that's what I would have said.
There is something to be said about Jeffrey Lurie's ability.
Instincts?
Yes, because only year, literally, the only year they hired the guy that everybody else wanted to hire was the year they hired Chip Kelly.
Yeah.
Outside of that, when they hired Andy Reid, everybody in this city is like, who? Quarterback coach from Green Bay. When they hired Doug Peterson, everybody, who? We wanted Ben McAdoo. We wanted this guy. We wanted that guy. Same thing with Sirianni. Look at the big names. Every year that the Eagles have gone the other way and not gone after the big name that everybody else wanted, those coaches either are fired, aren't making the playoffs. You got to give credit to Jeffrey Lurie. There's something about it, the way his instincts, whatever you want to call it, the approach to hiring a head coach, it works.
His first approach wasn't good with Ray Rhodes. His approach with Chip Kelly was not good because he gave him the store also. In addition to hire him as the coach, Chip walked into his house and said, I need to do everything. And he gave it to him. He crumbled. So he's learned a couple of bad lessons.
You could also argue
emotional intelligence.
That's right.
And I've made this
needed after the Chip Kelly experience.
I have made this argument before. As bad as the Chip Kelly experience was, if it doesn't happen, I'm not sure the Eagles win the Super Bowl in 2017. Because not only did Howie Roseman come out of the storage closet a different guy, what Chip Kelly did to that roster, decimating it, also allowed Roseman to rebuild it in a way that won you Super Bowl 52.
Yeah. Fair point. 610-632-0975. The news at noon is coming up at noon.
How about that?
Yeah. It's the Mike Missanelli Show. We're back after this. 141 on the Mike Missanelli Show on 97.5 The Fanatic. 610-632-0975. That's how you get in. So, okay, so we have to go through these days that lead up to the Super Bowl, and it's painstaking days that get until we get to the game. So we're gonna be able to dissect this game in 1,000 different ways when we actually get to dissecting it, which will come up later in the week. I mean, they're posturing right now with their game plans, and they got a lot of time to do it, figure it out, what's going to happen. The Chiefs are favored by 1.5, and I don't want people to get confused here. The Eagles could be the Super Bowl champ. There's no question. Now, all I'm saying is there's levels of disappointment for me, and there's levels of reality and logic when a Philadelphia team is playing for a big prize, and I go, okay, they should win. I don't have that feeling yet about this game. So, therefore, I would say if they lose to the Kansas City Chiefs, that's not going to be a disgrace in my book. As disappointed as I would be for the city of Philadelphia, for the fans, I go, well, maybe the Chiefs are a better team. Maybe because that quarterback is a magic man, they won't win this game. I didn't have any tolerance for them losing to the Rams or the Commanders. I can tell you that. So they are at a spot where I expect them to be. And at that point, it's like, okay, let's see if we can win it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, you can't. This is a toss-up between the Chiefs and the Eagles. I mean, this is the reason they're going to have to play the game. We can analyze it a million different ways, but we can't put you can't quantify what Mahomes and Reed bring. So that's why you're right. It wouldn't be an embarrassment to go to the Super Bowl and lose to a team like the Chiefs.
It would be hurtful.
It would hurt.
It would be hurtful because people would say, you can't win the big one. Again, you got a chance to win the big one, didn't win it.
Well, it would hurt, but the reason I would be more concerned is we just don't know what next year would look like. There's going to be change. There always is. There's certain players that are going to be free agents this offseason that I'm not sure they're going to be able to bring everybody back. Mm-hmm. You don't know about health next season. You don't know about the competition in the NFC, how much better they're all going to be next season, and that Super Bowl hangover. It would be very tough for them to try to get back again next year if they lose this game.
By the way, the Sixers owner is not the only one that didn't congratulate the Philadelphia Eagles for getting to the Super Bowl. You see who else did not?
No.
Trumpy.
Didn't congratulate. He congratulated the Chiefs, though.
He did.
Yeah.
On his Truth Social, he posted the following. Congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs. What a great team, coach, quarterback, and virtually everything else, including those fantastic fans that voted for me, MAGA, in record numbers.
Well, yeah, I could see.
Likewise, congratulations to the Buffalo Bills on a tremendous season. They will do a lot of winning long into the future. No statement was made on congratulating the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, do we know the history of that? Well, yes, we do. Because if you recall, in 2017, a revolt led by, I believe, Malcolm Jenkins did not want to patronize Trump, and a lot of Eagles said they would not go to the White House. Trump, with the memory of a small elephant, maybe this might be a backlash. Because he then, in response, canceled the event. If you remember, canceled the Eagles going to the White House. So he's probably still holding a grudge. So my question is this. Well, what about all the Eagle fans who are Trump supporters? How do they feel about that?
They probably don't care, but
really?
I mean, you go back to that 2017, too. If you remember.
Your loyalties to the Eagles or your loyalties to Trump?
They'd probably just separate the two. But if you remember in 2017, too, that was when Malcolm Jenkins was doing the national anthem stuff, and Trump came out against it.
Added that.
Yeah.
He said staying in the locker room for the playing of our national anthem is as disrespectful to our country as kneeling.
Yeah, I remember that whole thing was going on that season as well. Your old pal, Sal Palantonio, he wrote a book about that season, and I read it recently going back. I read that. I didn't read The Perfect Season by Mike Missanelli about Penn State, which is a great book. You should check it out. But
read Sal Pal's book.
But Sal
Doesn't
Pal,
read my book, right?
I don't know if I appreciated
That's a violation.
what the team had kind of been dealing with behind the scenes when all that was going down with the national anthem and all. I mean, that was just another thing that they dealt with that year on their way to the Super Bowl.
Did Sal Pal have a chapter about him not talking to me anymore? Did he write that? Was that like
I still don't understand
an epilogue chapter for the book?
I went back and pulled. I don't know if I found it on YouTube and listened to when Sal Pal hangs up. Look, you can be rough. You didn't do anything wrong there.
Oh, I didn't.
Like, I can understand. Because when at first you said to me, like, I didn't do anything, I'm thinking, all right, maybe let me go listen to this. You did nothing.
Wait, you didn't trust me?
Look, Mike, I could see you getting under people's skin. In that instance, you didn't do a single thing wrong.
I merely asked him about his comments that he made on the Dan Patrick show about how the league should investigate the Eagles.
And then there was just a click, like, oh, I didn't get it. I don't know why he got so upset on that.
All right.
But yeah, I read his book, not yours. Is that a major
he didn't
violation?
click right away. He then got sullen in the rest, and then he started giving me one-word answers.
Yeah.
And then he clicked.
And then he clicked off. But because he used to be a regular on the show.
Yes.
Should we try to get him back? Find out what was going on.
Paid regular, by the way.
Should I reach out to him and say, listen, we need to put this to bed. We want to know why you're mad at Mike Miss.
I had multiple. Last time this Sal Pal came up, I had multiple listeners tweet at me, say that the only thing that I can accomplish in this industry is bringing peace. They want me to be the one that brings peace to Mikey Miss and Sal Pal.
I've tried to bring peace.
So I
tried to reach out to the guy. Tell you, like, what, dude, what's up?
I'll try to
I
reach
get
out.
nothing.
I'll try to reach out to him.
Well. Okay.
An Eagles Super Bowl, will that do it?
He'll probably ghost me. He'll probably ghost me.
It's the biggest mysteries of my career. It really is. I go, what?
Sal Pal used to always
doesn't
come
even
in.
make sense.
One of my first jobs ever, I scooped water ice over in Haddon Township at my buddy's water ice shop. Sal Pal was a regular. Used to come in all the time.
Dude, we were friends. I had in my we were playing basketball. We played basketball all the time together. Played tennis all the time together. He knocked a couple of my relatives into the rocks playing basketball on the street. Like,
oh yeah, he's a competitor, right?
Yeah,
he's aggressive.
He's nuts. We played on the prize-winning Philadelphia Inquirer softball team that won the championship.
All right, we're gonna get Sal Pal on. All right, come on, Ray, let's make it happen. We got to. You can tell it's upsetting,
He's
Mike.
not
that
coming
his
on
friends-
unless you're paying him. He ain't coming on here. 610-632-0975. Back after this.
Fanatic Sports Update.
We have to wait how long? I'm Ray Dunn with this Fanatic Sports Update. As the celebrations from Sunday's NFC Championship game victory fade into memories, we now turn to the long wait until the Eagles and Chiefs match up in the Super Bowl. For the Birds, it's the third Super Bowl appearance in 8 years. Their second in the last 3 seasons. Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts will be the first head coach quarterback duo to appear in multiple Super Bowls for the franchise. Sirianni said that first experience has made him hungrier this second time around.
I just thought about the next game, to be quite honest with you. It's like, this is a great feeling. We've had this feeling before, and it just makes you hungrier.
Consider the city starving for the game to happen. It's a long wait for February 9th when the Eagles and Chiefs match up in New Orleans. Elsewhere, Flyers won 4-2 over the Devils last night. The 76ers return to action tonight against the Lakers. Sixers without Joel Embiid, Paul George, Caleb Martin, KJ Martin, and Andre Drummond tonight. You can hear the game right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. This update is brought to you by True Green. True Green, get a golf course quality lawn for less than what you think. Don't wait. Sign up at truegreen.com for 75% off your first service and let the pros handle the work while you enjoy the results. TRUgreen.com. I'm Ray Dunn on the home of the 76ers and the Flyers. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Have not heard from the text board much today. So, Ray, I'm sure we got a few texts here on what's going on with the Philadelphia Eagles. The Sirianni love, hates herders. Have they withered and faded away? What do you got on the text board today? Anything?
Yeah, we do. Trying to get to the text board here.
I love catching him off guard.
While he's looking for texts, I got to say, you mentioned Sirianni love.
Uh-huh.
There was a lot of universal praise for the trio yesterday. I don't know if Ray saw it on Instagram or Twitter, but they tweeted out our Sirianni Love Trio's rendition. Mm-hmm. A lot of love, Mike. A lot of love.
Yeah,
people want it on
Spotify.
Yeah, people want it on Spotify.
Don't they usually rip you?
Yeah, they usually hate it, but this is what happens when you're going to the Super Bowl, I guess. Everybody loves it. But your vocals in the background really brought it to a different level.
Thank you.
And Ray starting it off.
Bruce from East Earl wants to come clean on his Sirianni hatred from before. Confession time for him.
Oh, okay.
It's time for me to come clean. I did not want Nick back. I was one in the fan base who called for his job last season. I was highly critical and had no belief. Nick has done amazing. He is the coach I want. Sign him to an extension as long as possible. I apologize, Nick, Bill, and Eagles Nation. Go Birds. Does he really have to apologize to Bill?
Yeah. I think so.
No, nobody has to apologize.
I think that's what we should make the next hour. People just call up and say they're sorry.
You need to apologize. Nobody needs to apologize. You're making the comments you say at the time. You believe in your heart. So why do you have to apologize for them?
Yeah.
Maybe the comments turn out to be wrong. It backfires on you. You don't have to apologize for it. You're speaking your heart.
Well, I mean, we could. Yesterday, I praised Howie Roseman, right, and his drafting. And if you remember correctly, I ripped Howie Roseman.
Yeah.
At the start of the season.
You have to apologize, Howie.
Well, no.
You ripped him because at the time he deserved the rip.
Because when you
and
looked.
It turned out.
Yes, when you looked at the defensive draft picks, he had missed far too often previously. And I felt like that was a big reason why last season you looked at that defense. There was a severe lack of young talent. Nolan Smith wasn't playing well. We hadn't seen Nakobe Dean. Jordan Davis was a question mark. Well, now. Nolan Smith stepped up. Jordan Davis has stepped up. Nakobe Dean stepped up. And all these young guys he drafted this year, now I give him credit. I'm not going to apologize to him. You're right. Because at the time, there were too many misses. He's learned. He's grown. And now the defense looks young. It looks good. A lot of that maybe my criticism shouldn't have been directed to Howie. Maybe it was the coaching last year. Because you bring in Vic Fangio. You bring in Clint Hurt. You bring in these guys, Christian Parker on the back end. And look how much better these guys are playing.
There you go. By the way, there were a lot of celebrities at the game on Sunday. Did you see the documentation of the celebs? Well, first of all, the Bo Allen has been hanging out with Chris Long a lot. So those guys were there together.
Yeah, they do that podcast together.
They do? Okay, and they took a photo. Did you see the photo they took? Took a photo of Chris Long standing next to Fletcher Cox, and Bo Allen put a caption underneath it.
Yeah, that joke's kind of played. I've seen that before. I mean, you've seen the guy, you've seen the people with the jerseys, and they turn around and they do it.
I mean, the caption was,
I can guess, yeah.
So how many times does a joke have to be said for you guys to think it's played?
A
you
couple.
guys seem to get tired of things very quickly.
I think it's gauche, frankly. Like, it's like, come on, man. We've heard that before. It's like, it's not, it's almost like fraternity stuff. Like, the caption. Like, really? Okay. We've heard that before.
It's not just, oh, hey, those two guys that helped win a Super Bowl. Funny to see that memory pop up for us one more time. Look at them back together.
No, because he put a caption under it to try to get a little fraternity joke.
Well, it reminds you when they did that on the preseason broadcast, when they said that when Spadero was interviewing them. That's what I thought. It was harkening back. Remember that funny time 7 years ago, 8 years ago?
You ask about us, when their jokes played out, and I think you're referring to, too, because we've said that the inner excellence stuff is, it's just, you beat it to the
inner excellence, Kelsey. You guys get tired of things.
Ray doesn't think inner excellence is played out.
Right?
Ray,
no, I'm only a chapter into it.
Ray's totally into it.
It's completely played out. But you know what's not played out?
What's that?
This radio station, Mike. Why don't you tell us what we're listening
You're
to?
You're listening to WPEN HD1, Burlington, Philadelphia, Beasley Media Group Station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studios, powering possibilities. Two other things. I saw where Yabusele was at the game. Not that experience with American football, but he was at the game. Yabu.
Yeah, I saw some of the tweets.
And also, Josh Hart at the game, a Commanders fan. He's from the D.C. area. And Jalen Brunson trolled him big time.
Yeah, it was funny.
Putting out the tweet of the map of the roads around Lincoln Financial Field, and he had a Josh Hart face like down the way on North Broad Street for the connection of I-95.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that
saying that Hart left the game after the third quarter.
And then Hart responded, he said something like, I only one of us is going to play defense tomorrow night, so I had to get out to practice or something like that. It's a shame Brunson plays for the Knicks because I feel like he would be absolutely loved if he was a 76er.
So would Josh Hart. I mean, is there any other like a player that Philadelphia would embrace more than Josh Hart, for crying out loud?
The Commanders thing could maybe rub you the wrong way.
No. It's a Philadelphia. Like, that guy is everything about blue collar. The way he plays basketball, he would be beloved here.
Yeah, he probably would. But Yabusele, not only at the game, he's on the trade rumors I've been hearing.
Really? Are they going to trade him?
Well, people want him. I don't know if the Sixers would pull the trigger on it, but I've been seeing that. Ray, have you been seeing that? Yabusele's some rumors?
I wrote it down a list of like 7 things that were mismanaged. I call the Sixers the cross your fingers general managers.
That's what the Sixers.
Everything they do is a finger cross. There's nothing they do that is certain. They're just hope. Their whole methodology is based on hope and not expertise.
And hope is not a plan, as they say.
And hope not even in the building.
But per Mark Stein, league sources have said the Philadelphia 76ers have received multiple trade offers from playoff-bound teams for Yabusele, who's been an effective addition to the Sixers front court after his strong play in the Olympics for the silver medal winning hosts. So playoff-bound team, I mean, technically the Sixers are a playoff-bound team, aren't they, Ray?
They're back in the top 10?
I don't know.
Paul George is ailing of the pinky at this point, so you got to wait. I don't know if he's going to play tonight.
No, they're not in the playoffs right now. They're 11th.
He's out, right?
Yeah, the list from
Paul's
yesterday
out.
was Joel, Paul, Caleb, KJ, both the Martins, and Andre Drummond.
Yeah, wonderful.
The only thing I'm concerned about tonight is, does an Eagle ring the bell? That's what I'm focused on. What do you think, Mike? Eagle ring a bell at the Sixers tonight?
Yes.
All right, so that'll be kind of their
Eagle will ring the bell.
that'll be their olive branch of, hey, we didn't congratulate you, but here we're bringing an Eagle.
All right, let's go to Sean in Illinois. Sean, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
What's up, guys? How are we doing today?
Hello, Sean.
Well, I'm making my weekly call with my Sirianni love and my Jalen Hurts love. And, Bill, I'm just kind of curious, that we've been fans all year of those two. And now that everybody else is jumping on the bandwagon, how do you feel about that?
There's room. I'm not going to push anybody off. There is plenty of room on the Sirianni bandwagon. I'm just happy that a lot of people are starting to see what we've seen, Sean, from the beginning, is that this guy wins a lot of games and that we should appreciate both the head coach and the quarterback in this town.
I agree, but my gut tells me if we lose this game by 1 point or 20 points.
Oh, the haters will come back out, Sean.
They're all coming back.
You know it, man. You know it, especially if it comes down to some sort of coaching decision. Yeah, Sirianni will get killed.
Well, I'm not surprised that we're underdogs. I'm really not. Mahomes has never lost a game in a dome stadium. He's 11-0. He's won the last 2 Super Bowls. I personally truly believe that we are going to win the Super Bowl. I believe that we have the better team. I believe that the experience from losing the last one against them for Nick and Jalen and a lot of players is going to be huge. But my biggest dream is at halftime, because we all know Tupac is really alive, and Tupac comes out at halftime and sings Sirianni Love and motivates us to win the Super Bowl this year. Gentlemen,
they can hologram it.
CLES.
All right, brother. You got it. Yeah, they can hologram it.
They could try. They could try to hologram it.
But I was watching. Did you see the? I was speaking of hip hop and that era with Tupac and Biggie and all that. There was a show. What was it on last night? The Fall of Diddy. It was called.
Oh, it was on Netflix, I think, isn't it? No, HBO Max has it.
No, it was on CNN, I think.
Oh, I saw it on Max.
Where was it? There was a Kobe show, documentary. Was that on CNN? What was it? I don't know. But anyway, no, I don't think it was CNN that Diddy show.
No.
What was it on?
It says TMZ Presents, but I think you could see it on Max. I thought I saw
No, it wasn't Max. 'Cause I watched it last night on regular TV.
Tubi?
No, it was on this regular channel.
I just Googled.
I'm on the TV guide,
It was on a regular channel.
and it says ID.
Yeah, there it was.
Oh, okay.
Investigation ID.
Yeah, so you still have the
It was
traditional
on.
cable. I got YouTube TV. so
Yeah,
everything's
I
different.
watch that ID station all the time for like murder mysteries and stuff. By the way, speaking of that, I'm glad you brought that up. People have been asking me about my podcast, the True Crime Podcast, which is called the Coldest Murder. We finished the final episode on it. 14. It turned out to be 14 episodes. I don't know if people have been following. If you haven't been, because a lot of people have been asking about me. Have you finished it up? And I go, yeah, we did the final episode, which was like we added new information that would indicate who the killer is without the DNA verification, which has to now happen with the authorities.
So we're waiting on that.
So I have concluded who the killer is.
You still think it's the guy, Schrader?
You should listen.
Listen to episode 14,
and then you'll make your conclusion.
Yeah. So and I think I've added a couple of elements in that final episode that would I think sway you.
All right. I'm looking forward to that.
Check it out. I know people say, well, hey, what? I'm on 8. Well, we get you're 6 short. We've done 14 was turned out to be. And we're really proud of it. And hopefully, if you haven't listened to it, check it out. Just go to YouTube or you go to Google the Coldest Murder, and all the episodes will pop up. Mike Missanelli Show continues on 97.5 The Fanatic.
The Philadelphia 76ers.
Sixers win.
11, Mike Missanelli Show, 97.5 The Fanatic. It is time for the news at 12:11, where Ray Dunn goes through the sports world, or just any world, and come up with three really interesting little tidbits that we can discuss. Ray, what do we have today on the news at noon?
There's a whole lot going on in this world. It's time to catch up. Here's the news at noon. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
We got the NFL head coaching cycle that we get some intro pressers. And, of course, we're going to start in Dallas because I can't get enough of just how bad it is down there. And Jerry Jones was asked the tough questions. Are you hiring within your comfort zone? Can you operate outside of your comfort zone? You're promoting an assistant that was already here that you have familiarity with. And apparently he sees a lot of risk in this.
I get my proverbial ass kicked over needing people in my comfort zone. Without this thing being about me in any way, if you don't think I can't operate out of my comfort zone, you're so wrong. It's unbelievable. This is as big a risk as you could take. As big a risk as you could take. No head coaching experience. Then let me share something with you. With all of that, you've just heard him reference his osmosis, his family. Anybody in this room that doesn't believe the apple doesn't go far from the tree has missed it someplace down the road. Especially if there was an effort to make it that way, and there was an effort.
Terrible, man.
Boy, if I'm Brian Schottenheimer, I'm just beaming with confidence.
It was so awkward. I watched it, and he's just sitting next to him.
He's like the drunken uncle, man.
He's got to hang it up.
Oh, he is the drunken uncle, because that's not the only thing that went viral out of that presser. This is him in the scrum after that.
There's a very low percentage of this that is smiles and glory holes. Very low percentage.
What?
Smiles and glory holes, Mike. You never heard that before?
There's a
What is
very
wrong with him?
low percentage when talking about the fans' reaction to it.
What the hell? What's wrong with this guy?
I don't know.
A lot.
He's got to. They got to do something. He's lost it. He's got to walk away.
Well, Steven doesn't exactly seem like the answer there.
But like, you don't get credit for hiring a guy with no coaching experience. No, this is the biggest risk you could take. You promoted an offensive coordinator from the staff that you just didn't bring back. I don't understand. How is this? I don't know, man. Jerry Jones is losing his mind down in Dallas.
All right, what's next?
All right, the internet was losing its mind over Liam Cohn and his attempt at Duval.
Duval.
It's Duval, isn't it? It's not Duval. It's not Duval. That's the important part. It's the Do.
Oh, man.
Isn't it? Am I wrong?
Whatever it is,
It's
the motion.
Because they put like dude. There's like 7 U's after the D. It's like Duval.
Yeah, his emphasis on the A there was bad, but the entire motion of it, the entire moment made me cringe.
Weird looking guy, man.
Yeah, he looks like Ray. That's what people said.
He said it.
But one guy
said, Ray's got better hair.
One guy said.
I don't
one guy
understand
said
the hair look.
No, I don't think you look like him, Ray.
Sports.
But that was an interesting hire as well.
An
That
interesting
might
process.
be a good hire. I mean, that's outside the box.
What
hire.
did you see? There was a lot of controversy surrounding that hire.
Yeah, he iced out the Bucks.
Well, he lied to the Bucks. He
went
said that
dark on him.
He said that he had his son had a medical appointment.
Yeah,
but he was really on an interview.
He jetted off to Jacksonville and went dark. They couldn't get in touch with him.
Yeah, a little weird.
Yeah, not straight up guy, but he got himself a head coaching job out of it. All right, finally, what we got?
All right, two defensive backs chatting with one another. Darius Slay made his way onto a podcast. Who would have thought? He was on with Richard Sherman, and they got talking about Saquon Barkley.
I was so excited that he scored, but then again, I was so mad that he scored so fast that we just had a 17-play drive. I'm like, we finna send us back out there. Damn, but y'all had an 18-play drive. 7 minutes off the clock. I'm out there already. I just hit the water. Next thing you know, I'm looking up, tub. I'm lit, going to celebrate when I'm like, Slay, save your energy. We got to go back out here. Man, that man's so good. Me and my homeboys used to have like a little talk about running backs. I said, man, Saquon, that dude, man. Like his career stats don't say, but man, ain't nobody seen no running back like this.
It's because the Giants was wasting him. They was wasting his best years. Now he getting to show what he should have been the whole time.
I said, oh, yeah, man, look, we call him Black Jesus around here.
As you should. As you should.
Black Jesus.
Slay's a funny guy. I give him credit. But he's talking about, the defense had to go back on the field after being on the field for a really long time.
Yeah, they opened up with that 18-play drive, and then one play, boom. But this may be Slay's last game in an Eagles uniform. I think financially, I think the fact that you have these young corners waiting in the wings, they're going to have to make some tough decisions this offseason with Zach Bond, Milton Williams, Mekhi Becton. I think this may be Slay's last game.
I don't know if they can get rid of Bond. I really don't. They made that mistake with T.J. Edwards. I don't think they can. That first of all, it'd be a kick in Vic Fangio's collusions if they did that, because that's the guy who really built him.
Yeah, it's going to be hard though to pay everybody. That's why I think financially.
Well, how much would they have to pay Bond?
I'll do some research because I want to look up. He's going to get paid like one of the top linebackers in the NFL because he is. So let me see. What is some of the top linebackers making right now?
You mentioned Fangio there, and this is just honestly me having a thought right here in this moment.
Mm-hmm.
How long? Like, if they win a Super Bowl, is there any thought to him of being like
retiring?
Yeah. Hey, I showed up here, we won a Super Bowl, I go out on top.
Possible.
You look at Patrick Queen, who was a guy that I wanted to see this year. I thought the Eagles should have signed him because who knew Zach Bond was going to be this guy. Steelers gave him a $41 million contract with an average value per year of $13.6.
They don't have to pay Bond that much.
I think they're going to have to,
He's a one-year guy, really. So I think the price tag for that, for him would be a little lower than Queen.
I don't know.
It would be double digits.
Tremaine,
how about $10 million?
Nah.
3-year deal, $10 million.
Bobby Okereke.
11.
Bobby Okereke makes $10 million with the Giants.
10, 11.
Matt Milano's making over 14. Tremaine Edmonds is making 18 a year. Fred Warner's making 19 a year.
Well, you're talking about a different category of player.
Roquan Smith's the highest at $20 million a year.
This is a one-year player. Now, I know his agent will base it off the way you're just saying, but maybe Bond goes, I'm in a really good position here with this team.
I don't know, man.
We'll
I think it's going to
happens.
take close to $15 million a year.
Wow.
With the cap going up again, most
I don't
likely.
like how he's going to 15. I think you're right about that. All right, 610-632-0975. We'll have to find another Bond somewhere. With Howie now, it's invincible. I can find somebody.
I hope he doesn't think that way.
Mike Missanelli Show continues. 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
We have to wait how long? I'm already done with this Fanatic Sports Update as the celebrations from Sunday's NFC Championship game victory fades into memories. We now turn to the long wait until the Eagles and Chiefs match up in the Super Bowl for the Birds. It's the third Super Bowl appearance in 8 years, their second in the last 3 seasons. Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts will be the first head coach quarterback duo to appear in multiple Super Bowls for the franchise. Sirianni said that first experience has made him hungrier this second time around.
I just thought about the next game, to be quite honest with you. It's like, this is a great feeling. We've had this feeling before, and it just makes you hungrier.
And this city's going to be hungry for that game on February 9th. Eagles and Chiefs down there in New Orleans in the Super Bowl. Elsewhere last night, the Flyers won 4-2 over the Devils. And tonight, the 76ers return to action against the Lakers. The Sixers will be without Joel Embiid, Paul George, Caleb Martin, KJ Martin, and Andre Drummond. As according to yesterday's injury report, you can hear the game right here tonight on 97.5 The Fanatic. This update's brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. At Mercedes-Benz, there's a reason they go the extra mile, from testing their vehicles to creating AI that can anticipate your needs on the road. They demand that every car is worthy of their star because it's Mercedes-Benz. I'm Ray Dunn on the home, the 76ers and the Flyers. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
12:25, Mike Missanelli. Haters and Sirianni haters withered and faded away. I don't get the sense that they have. I think we're content with where the team is right now. I think there are people still reserving the right to send a little hatred towards their favorite targets, the quarterback and the head coach, even though Bill Colarulo fighting real hard, especially with the Sirianni thing and what they've accomplished. And what they've accomplished has been amazing under this guy. And I'll be the first guy to tell you that, not that I was wrong, but that maybe I had misjudged how things would turn out this year when they brought him back. I thought, I was willing to keep my eyes open and see how it developed, and it developed beautifully from every angle, from the coordinators that they brought in to the coach being the CEO to the team togetherness and the leadership to the skill level. It's a pretty amazing thing that happened this year.
What do you think the turning point was? Because even at the bye week, things were teetering.
Was at the bye week. The turning point was at the bye week where the coach calmed down a little bit, and then where they said, we're better off playing football this way. And as Jalen Hurts said, maybe they did put a straitjacket on him, but the straitjacket was put on him for the betterment of this team and the way they were built.
Yeah, I mean, my knee-jerk response, too, is the bye week because things changed a little bit. We know the offensive line went into Sirianni and decided that they wanted to run the football more. But then they come out of the bye week, and that was the Browns game. I mean, that's the game where they barely win the game. Sirianni's jawing at the fans, brings his kids to the press conference, and then nationally and locally, I mean, he's getting killed.
Yeah. But then the team changed the way they played after that. Then it became, they were on a certain track. Now, I got to be honest with you, that track indicates they didn't trust their quarterback that much. But they saw what the best way to utilize him was in this particular season. So you got to give him credit.
See, I actually think as we look back, with hindsight being 2020, that Cleveland Browns game and the way the post game went, with Sirianni jawing at the fans, and then him doing what he did with the kids and everyone coming at him. I said to you it was going to galvanize the troops.
The troops because they loved their head coach so much that they wanted to fight for him?
I said it then.
Yeah, that's worse.
And now that you get to look back, Mike, they responded going to New York.
That's worse.
They go to New York. They win 28-3. Then they go to Cincinnati.
Yeah.
They win that one. Then they beat Jacksonville. Then they beat Dallas. Then they beat Washington. Then L.A., Baltimore.
Yeah, they galvanized the
all
team.
Those wins.
I don't know if they galvanized just for the back up their head coach.
I think they did, man.
I don't know. I think what galvanized them was a plan, was a game plan. Here's what we're going to do.
But
that's what's the galvanizing.
I do, though, just keep going back to head coaches.
Not Sirianni, not getting enough credit.
Well, no.
And not getting enough respect. That's what you keep going back to constantly.
Head coaches deliver a message to their team in every sport.
And the message was act like a douche and your team will back you up.
In every sport, head coaches deliver a message. And there becomes a time. We haven't done DB or not in a while. It becomes a time across all four major sports where teams start to tune out their head coach. We've seen that. We've seen that throughout history, and then the coach doesn't last. I see a team right now that reiterates things that Nick Sirianni says, that talks about connecting as a team, who talk about how Sirianni always preaches relationships. Like this message, whatever it is, it gets through to these guys. And that's why we have to appreciate them. And I think a majority of people have, but I still have people coming at me on Twitter and Instagram telling me that the coach is a joke and he's a clown and it's just about the roster and has nothing to do with him. And I think that you're being very ignorant to look at this team and not think that the head coach had anything to do with this.
Right. We got to play now the message. Grandmaster Flash and Furious 5. It's the message. That's why they wrote it for Sirianni.
For Sirianni. I just don't understand.
The message. The classic.
I don't understand. And I got Andy B on YouTube. Bill's going to turn so many people off. Like, why? Why are you allowing your preconceived notions about a man to affect your ability to enjoy that they went 17-3 this year and are in the Super Bowl. And he's the head coach of a team that's been to the Super Bowl 2 out of the last 3 seasons. It's the same people who hate on Jalen Hurts. How can you still hate on him when I gave you the numbers earlier that in the 2 biggest games of his career, Super Bowl 57 and last week on Sunday against the Commanders, he's performed at an extremely high level. He played better than Mahomes in the Super Bowl. He did everything he needed to do against the Commanders. He led the team to 55 damn points, a championship game record. If you're still hating on Sirianni and Hurts, there's something wrong with you. You probably need therapy because you're just hating and you're holding on to that hate. There's no reason for it, Mike. And I'm even trying to break through to you because
I didn't even hear the last 3 minutes.
There's still
I'm thinking
still a part of you.
Lyrics of the message.
There's still a part of you that is reluctant to give the head coach. I think you've come around on the quarterback, though. I think you're okay on the quarterback.
You just go too crazy. I lose it. There are times when I want to do praise Sirianni, but then you get onto this thing, and I go, I can't even feed the beast. I can't even do it. So I'm just thinking of the message. You were a hip hop band, old school hip hop, right? Didn't really the message? Wasn't that the origin of true hip hop?
You know what? If I heard it.
Oh, you know the message. Don't push me, cause I'm
close to the edge. We're trying not to lose our edge. Come on, Ray. Ray's trying to find the song.
That's Grandmaster Flash in a Furious 5.
Yeah, I know it now.
Man. All right, let's go to Ish in Levittown. Ish, you're on 97.5, The Fanatic. Ish.
Hey, Mike, how are you?
What's up, Ish?
Hey, guys. Bill's spot on. I just want to address Darius Slay. I just cannot get with him and his podcast. He annoys me to the point that I can't root for him. I don't know why.
Really, Slay annoys you? He annoys me too. But sometimes that what we just heard was pretty funny. You know.
Yeah, it was funny, but the last podcast he was on, he was talking about C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
He's too cocky for you. He's too cocky for you. I get it.
Yeah, I don't. But yeah, I feel with Bill. Like Bill has been preaching this Nick Sirianni. I've been on the bandwagon, but Bill has been preaching this Nick Sirianni, and he has been spot on. And I still feel like, Mike, in your voice, that you still don't.
It's because
appreciate.
It's because of Bill, Ish. It's because of Bill.
It's because of me.
It's like me. It's like me putting coal into a stove. You know when it just it just lights it up further for this guy.
I feel that. Are you still keeping your eye out on him, even if he's in the Super Bowl?
No, he's in the Super Bowl. My eyes saw what I needed to see. Whatever he did, it worked. Bill likes to say, "Well, they play for him, and he's got good." Maybe they do. I mean, I don't see that professional athletes play. I think they get on a roll, they get success, they believe in themselves, and maybe he fosters that. I'll give him a little credit. But I think mostly that he's the advisor who stays out of the game plans, and I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is all product of Nick Sirianni-ish. Is that what you want me to hear me say?
I want to hear it.
I'm feeding the freaking beast when I say that.
Yeah, I think it's.
I can't feed the beast with this guy next to me.
Yeah, I believe what Bill's saying is right.
I'm the smartest coach in the world.
We've done it.
All right.
Thanks, Ish.
I just
Appreciate
can't
it.
get past the mugging into the camera meme.
He hasn't done that in a while.
Yeah, but it's still there. It's playing on my mind. It can't disappear.
Look, it resonates with the players, man. It resonates. And the fact that you are reluctant to give the guy his flowers because of me?
I'm giving him flowers.
Because of me?
Because of you. It's like I kick you. I kickstart you into this worship land, and I go.
I don't worship.
I don't want to deal with the Bill worship.
I don't worship him. I just look.
Ray's same thing. Ray just doesn't want to say it.
Yeah, Ray doesn't want to say it either.
Ray doesn't want me to feed the beast either.
But it's just kind of tough.
You just have to. You got to appreciate winning. That's all. Got to appreciate it.
Well, there's people that appreciate winning, and then you shove the Sirianni agenda at them, and then that's when they start to say,
let's get this. Let's get this straight, though.
You shove it up their keys, and then they get constipated.
My over-the-top praise for Nick Sirianni would not happen if there wasn't over-the-top hate all summer and even through the first couple of months of the season.
Fighting that part of it
Because it still exists.
You're not his agent.
It still exists. Because my job,
it happened to exist because he created it. It didn't happen like combustion. It happened because he created it.
Yeah, see, that's where we disagree as well.
What are you talking about? How did we disagree?
You put all of the blame on him.
I don't put all the blame on him. I'm just saying he created the slanted eye because of the shenanigans.
But here's where I have a hard time understanding the logic. The people who were hating on Nick Sirianni for the collapse blame him for the collapse, but won't give him credit for bringing this team to a 17-win season and in Super Bowl 59. You can't have it both ways. If he was to blame for the worst collapse in sports history, then he should be given the credit for leading this team to the Super Bowl. But that's not how it is. The haters say Nick Sirianni was at fault, and the only reason this team's good now is because of the roster and the coordinators. You can't have it both ways.
I didn't say that.
Not you, but people. I have them coming at me on social.
I'll see. What about the chat board? Are they coming at you on the chat board too?
They're coming after Ish.
Oh, here's this.
Coming after Ish.
Matt Massett in the chat says, "Do we really have to wait 2 weeks to hear Bill sing again?" He wants it sooner.
No.
Appreciate it, Matt.
Yeah, we can't overdo it. All right. On the other side, a very interesting story coming out of New Orleans. Now, New Orleans is a town known for greased light poles, and yet they are issuing a warning out there. We'll give you the scoop right after this on the Mike Missanelli Show at 97.5 The Fanatic.
Joy 97.5.
there's candy out there.
So I've already loaded up on my egg wrap, my Kind bar.
You're different than me. Okay, so they were talking about the Brandon Graham thing, where he says that he's feeling good, and there's a possibility he would want to play in the Super Bowl, and Mr. Kincade was against that, and I'm going, why would you be against it? Like what? Like how could it possibly hurt the Eagles? Like what precious roster spot would he take?
Yeah, now I misheard a little bit. I'm not sure exactly what John's position was on it, but it sounded like he was saying that Brandon Graham shouldn't take a roster spot from somebody else.
Yeah, and I'm going, who are we talking about here? Bruce Smith?
Yeah,
we're taking his roster.
But I think if I'm not mistaken, I thought John then said, well, if it was Bryce Huff, then it would be okay.
Well, that's who it would be.
Yeah, because I don't think Bryce Huff. I want to look what he did against the Commanders. I'm not sure if he played special teams either, because that would be the issue. Is Brandon Graham's not going to play special teams?
I mean, who cares? Well, they don't have enough special teams players. My God, it would just be defensive end depth. He knows how to play. Okay, he maybe he wouldn't be the sharpest, but what do you need him for? 10 snaps? 10 snaps, he can make a play within 10 snaps.
Yeah, I'm pulling up the snap count now. So against the Commanders, on the edge, you had Jalix Hunt, man. Jalix Hunt played 42 snaps. I thought that he was just going to have like a redshirt year when they took him in the third round. He's actually given them valuable reps. 42 snaps at edge. Nolan Smith played 63. Josh Sweat played 40. Then you had Bryce Huff play 12. So, and Bryce Huff did not play special teams. So, yeah, man, that would be I think
I don't know what the big deal would be if you suited him up, if he's able to play and he wants to play. I mean, he's certainly savvy enough to be able to make one play that would benefit you. I don't understand what the outrage would be.
Yeah, I don't know either. I didn't listen to what his reasoning was necessarily.
His reasoning was that he would no way near be ready to play at an NFL level because he's been out this long. And there's something to be said about that. Maybe he would be a little rusty, but he knows how to play. So what am I asking him to do? I'm just asking him to play a few snaps in a relief role. I don't see what would be wrong with that.
Yeah, I'd be okay with it. And I can't imagine. I know Brandon Graham hasn't ruled out the possibility of coming back next season. I'd be surprised if they brought him back next year. It becomes a time where you got to stop relying on that old of a player. There's a reason why he got hurt. It just happens with age, unfortunately. But, yeah, I'd be okay with him coming back and taking Huff's spot. But could you imagine? I mean, even though Howie Roseman, we said yesterday, he's got the Midas touch, that everything he touches turns to gold. What a miss Bryce Huff has been.
Yeah, that's the one miss that he's made, obviously.
But I thought when they signed Huff, I thought for this team to have success this season that Huff had to fill that Hassan Reddick role. I can't imagine, or couldn't imagine, I should say, that they would be sitting here in the Super Bowl with the number one defense in the NFL, and Bryce Huff has given you squat. Didn't see that one coming.
How come you haven't said this stat that I was reading today? How come this wasn't memorized by you? Only 3 coaches in NFL history have reached multiple Super Bowls in their first 4 seasons as a head coach. How come you didn't know, shine that one?
Because I like the other one.
What's
the other
that?
one is only one coach has also made 4 straight playoff appearances in their first 4 years and 2 Super Bowls. That's only Nick Sirianni. So, yeah, the other one applies,
the smartest
too.
coach in the world.
But I think it was Mike Tomlin, but he didn't make the playoffs every year.
Joe Gibbs.
Joe Gibbs, but he didn't make the playoffs every year. And the other one's Sirianni.
Yeah, Sirianni.
I'd rather
Gibbs,
just
Tomlin, Sirianni.
Yeah.
You missed that one.
No, I'd prefer to go with just the one. Just the one.
All right.
Yeah, because Sirianni, I'm looking at some of these things now. Yes. Yeah, so Tomlin did it.
So one of the other things we talked about with Saquon Barkley and what he has been able to accomplish this year, and whether he goes down in history as the greatest free agent that's ever been signed by a Philadelphia sports team. There seems to be a discrepancy on the Dr. J thing, Ray, or whether he was a free agent.
Yeah, we were wrong on that one.
No, I don't think we were wrong, because here's what it was. as part of the merger, they had to relinquish Julius Erving, the Nets. So anybody could have paid. The Sixers made the deal with the Nets, but I don't know why anybody else couldn't have made the same deal. I think what I remember is that Harold Katz went high to get him.
From what I read, they were saying that they tried. I think they were going to be forced to pay $3 million to be in the same market as the Knicks. And in order to do that, or they had to pay some sort of entrance fee for that. In order to do that, they had to shed the salary of Dr. J.
Yeah.
They offered the Knicks Dr. J to just not have to pay that fee. The Knicks turned that down, and then it became like the Lakers, the Sixers, and I think the Sixers put up $3 million.
All right, well, that technically was a free agent thing then, wasn't it?
Not really, because the Nets got paid for it, and I don't think Dr. J was like, yeah, they paid me the most. I think it's we paid the Nets the most in exchange for the player.
Well, why were the Lakers involved then?
Because it's like negotiating almost a trade.
Technically, Bill, that feels like free agent to me, right?
Yeah.
Technically?
Well, he's under contract with the Nets. It's not that he was free and let's go sign somewhere.
But they didn't give up any assets to get him, right? Other than they just bought him out type thing?
Yes.
They bought the contract, I think.
Yeah.
Yes, I don't know. A trade would involve players, wouldn't it? Or
In that case, if you don't want to consider Julius Erving a free agent, then Barkley's got to, and Ray thinks it's Harper, but Harper didn't do it. Like, Barkley is accomplishing an all-world achievement here. So, I don't know how you can top that. As much as Harper kind of regenerated the Phillies, I don't know. Is it the same splash? Harper, Barkley? Would you go Harper over Barkley as the greatest free agent?
I understand Ray's argument that Bryce Harper helped turn the franchise around because after the Ryan Howard, J-Roll, Chase Utley years, it was some rough years for the Phils. And Harper kind of changed the whole
dynamic.
Feeling.
Yeah,
the
I
whole
get it.
feeling.
Yeah.
But with Saquon, to give you a baseball reference, like what he's done this season with like 7 60-yard touchdown runs, that's the equivalent of Bryce Harper hitting 70 home runs. Like, you don't see this. We've never seen a player in NFL history have 7 60-yard touchdown runs. Jim Brown and Adrian Peterson had 4. Like, this is the equivalent of, like, Saquon Barkley breaking Barry Bonds' home run record, what he did. To hit a home run as many times as Saquon has hit, you just don't see this in the modern NFL. Not even in the old NFL. You got to go back to 63 when Brown did it, in 2012 when AP did 4, and Saquon's got 7?
Yeah.
It's been unbelievable what this guy has done. So I don't know. Did he do it as much for the franchise that Bryce Harper has done for the Phillies? Maybe not when you look at it as a whole. But free agent signing and then the immediate return on investment with what he's done this season, I think Saquon's got to be at the top.
It's an argument. 610-632-0975. In the 1 o'clock hour, we're going to talk about what the most ridiculous part of this journey was. We'll break it down in little elements that happened this year that culminated into the Eagles being the best team in the NFC and maybe the best team in football if they can knock it down in a couple weeks. The Mike Missanelli Show's on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
We have to wait how long? I'm Ray Dunn, and this update is driven by Is Gary Barbera the best? Boy, I guess. It's Gary Barbera's Super Celebration. Enjoy their biggest game playoff payoff. Drive a Barbera Ram like our man Brandon Graham. Super cheap Barbera Jeeps during Super Savings Week. Go Birds. As the celebrations from Sunday's NFC Championship game victory fade into memories, we now turn to the long wait until the Eagles and Chiefs play in the Super Bowl. For the Birds, it's the 3rd Super Bowl appearance in 8 years. They're 2nd in the last 3 seasons. Sirianni and Hurts will be the first head coach quarterback duo to appear in multiple Super Bowls for the franchise. Sirianni said that first experience has made him hungrier this second time around.
I just thought about the next game, to be quite honest with you. It's like, this is a great feeling. We've had this feeling before, and it just makes you hungrier.
And the city's certainly hungry for them to get revenge over the Chiefs on February 9th when it's Eagles and Chiefs from New Orleans in the Super Bowl. Elsewhere, Flyers won 4-2 last night over the Devils, and the 76ers returned to action tonight against the Lakers. Sixers will be without Joel Embiid, Paul George, Caleb Martin, KJ Martin, and Andre Drummond. You can hear the game right here on the Fanatic tonight. This update is also brought to you by WorldwideStereo.com. Worldwide Stereo's new trade-in program helps make upgrading your home audio simple and accessible. Trade in your used audio and video gear for superior sound in 2025. Learn more at WorldwideStereo.com. I'm right down the home, the 76ers and the Flyers. 97.5 The Fanatic, 97.5thefanatic.com.
There we go. Classic, man. This started the whole thing.
It's a good jam. Now, they've used that. They've sampled this beat a few different times. Right? Ice Cube used it.
Broken glass everywhere.
Broken glass everywhere. People
pissing on stairs.
They just don't care. I can't take the smell, can't take the noise. Got no money to provide. I guess I got
No
no
choice.
Bats in the front room, roaches in the back, junkies in the alley
With a baseball bat.
I try to get away, but
Now, the real question is, would our loyal listener T-Love pick that song, or would he go with another George Michael song? T-Love's listening. He's probably not happy. I keep calling him out.
Rats in the front room, roaches in the back.
Right, you knew that song, right? Now that you've heard it?
Push me.
Yeah, now that I heard it, yep.
Yeah.
Close to
And yeah, the beat's been sampled a million
edge.
times.
This is that was the first song that described the squalor of living on the streets and the hardships of poor man life.
That was the first one?
It really was. I think it was. Yeah, it was called The Message. It was like the message. What's going on out there?
Yeah, I want to listen to the lyrics. Sometimes I don't listen to the beat. Don't fully appreciate the lyrics of songs.
Crazy lady living in a bag, eating out of garbage pails. You know, life on the streets.
Life on the streets.
All right. What did I say we were going to talk about at 1 o'clock hour?
You had a New Orleans question, or a New Orleans story.
Yeah, yes, New Orleans story. Okay, so in New Orleans has this thing where they grease all the city poles
Just
to kick off Mardi Gras.
only on Mardi Gras they do this. Not like
this is how they kick it off by having a pole greasing party hosted by the Royal Sonesta in New Orleans.
Isn't that a hotel?
So they have a Vaseline bucket, like visible Vaseline bucket.
Sounds like Diddy. Oh, that was baby oil.
Come on, man. And so, but they are warning Philadelphia Eagle fans not to do it if they win the Super Bowl, because they're ramping up safety measures here following that New Year's Day fact. So they're saying regarding climbing streetlight poles, not only illegal, but it's unsafe, as many of the streetlight poles in the French Quarter are quite old. Climbing on them risks toppling the light pole. Well, they do that for Mardi Gras, kick off Mardi Gras. But they're afraid of Eagle fans already because of their tradition of climbing the light poles, the bus shelters, the mailboxes, anything that they do here. So they are on guard for this.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because the only time the Eagles have ever won the Super Bowl, it was freezing in Minnesota. So the fans weren't necessarily out causing a scene in the city. But if the Eagles win the Super Bowl in New Orleans, yeah, what does happen? How are Eagles fans going to react on Bourbon Street? It could be a wild scene.
Yeah, it could be a very wild scene. All right, you're listening to WPEN and WPEN HD1, a Beasley Media Group station broadcasting live from Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. All right, let's get back to the text board. We got some text on Mr. Hurts, and the Hurts haters withered and faded away. Have they? Have the Sirianni haters withered and faded away? What's the consensus, Ray, from the text board?
Very odd take from I don't know if it's a former Hurts hater or someone that just observed them. Joe from Jersey. In a way, some of the Hurts haters were proven right when they criticized his play and said how he could be playing much better. Because despite winning close games, they could have easily been blowout wins if Hurts played how he should have. Commanders game, he did just that. He did what the haters have been wanting, and the results were 55 points and a blowout win. This is what happens when Hurts plays how we know he can play. Not taking bad sacks, getting rid of the ball quicker, letting wide receivers make plays on single coverage, etc., etc. When Hurts plays like that, we are unbeatable.
You're not wrong, as I like to say. When Hurts does play like that, you are unbeatable because we know teams are trying to sell out to stop the run. But when Hurts is dropping dimes like he was,
Yeah, this is the beauty of this whole thing leading up to the Super Bowl. You no longer have that argument that people held on to for the last several weeks about their passing game being crap, because it was excellent, and he was excellent against the Washington Commanders. They can't even bring that out. So what could they possibly bring out to say the Eagles will lose to the Chiefs, other than the Mahomes-Chiefs superiority with Andy Reid?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a big
You can't.
only.
In other words, you can't challenge. You can't paint this game as the Eagles are flawed. Like
No.
they held on to that argument for how many weeks? The Eagles are flawed because of.
No, you can't. That has to be. I mean, we were ready to put that to bed after the Pittsburgh game, but unfortunately, the Rams passing the game against the Rams, that kind of brought it back to light. But I think Jalen's put it to bed again. It's time to move on. Now, ESPN always does the matchup predictor, and they do the percentage chance of winning. Yeah, they're giving the Eagles a 56.1% chance because
To win? Wow.
Because, like we've been saying, when you match up the rosters, yeah, I think the Eagles are better.
That
But
overrides the line then.
But you can't calculate the Mahomes-Reid effect. You can't.
It overrides the line of the Chiefs being favored. And like I said, Cole got really angry with me for telling, this is my honest opinion. If they somehow lose to the Chiefs, I wouldn't be devastated. I'd be disappointed, but I wouldn't be devastated. Like in past losses, when you look at Philadelphia in past losses, the devastating losses, like I can't measure the same thing. They lose to the Chiefs, I go, they lost to a great football team. Like it wouldn't be in the same realm as them losing to Arizona Diamondbacks.
I don't even want to think about them losing, but as you're saying that, if it depends on how they lose. I mean, if they were to lose this Super Bowl and Hurts doesn't look good or Sirianni does make a bad decision, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to handle the offseason of hate directed towards either one of them. Like, I think at this time, though, they've done enough.
Suppose they just lose, and there's nothing that made them lose other than that the other team was better.
Well, like in a similar fashion to how they lost in 22. In 2022, Eagles performed well offensively. Hurts had an unbelievable game. There were really one questionable decision that I think could have gone either way when Sirianni kicked the field goal instead of going for it on fourth down. But there was nothing egregious about that game.
Short of anything like that, there's no way the Eagle fans can blame. Like, short of Hurts throwing an interception on a drive to win the game, or short of a bad play call on third down where the Chiefs stop them and they have to punt, or some overthought fake punt or something like that costs them points from the other team, you would be completely disarmed. At the end of the day, I'd say, well, you know what, the Chiefs were just better. And next year maybe we'll be better. That's the way I always look at it. People get mad at me for that. I just try. Like I'm a pragmatic person. I would feel foolish if I overreacted to a loss to a better team. Like, what did I want? The other team was better coming in. I thought we could win the game. We didn't win the game. We didn't win the World Series that year. We didn't win the championship.
Losing to the Chiefs, as upset as I would be, you're right. It's not the equivalent of losing to the Carolina Panthers in the NFC Championship game.
Exactly.
It's not
or the equivalent to the Phillies losing to the Cardinals when they had 101 wins that year.
But I always go back and forth with my dad, and I tell you he's kind of a Negadelphian. He didn't have the Eagles making the playoffs. And then he didn't have the Eagles beating the Packers. And then he didn't have the Eagles beating the Rams. And then he didn't have the Eagles beating the Commanders. Then he calls me yesterday.
Yeah.
And he goes, I got a really bad feeling they're going to lose in the Super Bowl and I'm going to be devastated. I said, how are you going to be devastated? You didn't even think they were going to make the playoffs.
Well, see, that's what your dad does that everybody else does. That's a protective mode. They're going to lose this game. But that's all now thrown out the window. The Eagles have accomplished that stupid, they're going to lose to that bad team thing. Now they're up against a really good team that has experience in winning frickin' Super Bowls with a quarterback who makes plays out of his ear. And so if you lose to that, you go, well, all right, I get that.
Yeah, it'll
That's all
hurt, but I think you're right. It wouldn't be this overreaction that they lost to a inferior team. I understand that. You're right, because you compared it to the Phillies losing to the Astros in the World Series.
Yeah.
That was easier to swallow than losing to the Diamondbacks.
I watched that combined no-hitter game. I was there for that. I go, guess what? They brought in bullpen guys that were unhittable. What am I going to do about it? They're better. 610-632-0975. Back after this.
It's time for Birds Playoff Conversation.
Hey, Tay, you're dead to us if you pick the Chiefs.
Missanelli Show, 97.5 The Fanatic. Bill's here. Ray is here. By the way, our 12 o'clock hour, it was brought to us by, hold on, Service Source Heating and Air Conditioning. 0% financing for 72 months, $500 rebate when you purchase a complete heating and cooling system from Service First. You can learn more at servicefirsthvac.com. All right, we've been having a conversation on Sirianni. And the conversation, listen, I told you my eyes were wide open this year on the guy. The guy has done nothing wrong, in my opinion. But what was the most, I don't know, the turning point, or the most ridiculous part of this journey? Let's start the examining the journey and what happened this year. After we get a text on the Sirianni conversation that we've talked about, that when Bill starts talking about it, he sends me the other way. I was my eyes are wide open. I've now said he must be doing something right. I'm all good with it. But then Bill goes a little too far, and he takes me to a point where I withdraw, and I try to find something wrong with Sirianni. So we have a text on that, Ray, and then we'll get to the most ridiculous part of this journey.
Yeah, we do. We have a texter saying, you would think Sirianni scored 4 touchdowns in the last game. Sirianni is a glorified cheerleader. Players have accepted him, and I think that's kind of where the discussion ends.
All right, this is what I mean.
Yes,
Mike, this is what I mean.
I will agree that you shouldn't be perturbed by it. You should understand it on why people still don't have the overall 100% acceptance of it. You get personally involved like somebody insulted your family member.
It's just that, well, the reason why I get upset is because 22 years of my life, I waited patiently for the Philadelphia Eagles to make a Super Bowl. And then finally, after 22 years, they break through in 2004 and they get there under Andy Reid. And then they never got there again under Andy Reid. Doug Peterson comes in, they get there, they win it. It was phenomenal. Sirianni's now gotten you there twice in 3 years. So I get frustrated because it's, what do we want? What is it that we want as Eagles fans?
Here's the thing you got to understand about sports talk radio. It's like when people say, Bryce Harper, he stinks. Like, are you going to take that personally, or are you going to say, well, okay, that's ridiculous? Or Mike Schmidt never hit a clutch home run in his life. Yeah, I know he had 535 of them, but they were all solo shots. Like, you take, like, you don't get personally offended when somebody say, you go, you're an idiot. That's what you say to slough it off.
I get not personally offended.
You do.
I get frustrated.
You get personally offended.
I get so frustrated.
It's an idiotic statement that you should put in the idiotic pile.
But here's the thing. It's not just one idiot. There are a strong contingent of fans in this city who feel that way.
Well, they're not looking at it objectively because he ticked them off somewhere along the line. And they're never going to be able to see it. You, as a mature man, should understand that.
Yeah, I'm still not going to accept it, though. I'm not going to accept it. I'm not going to accept. We have seen what it's like. Now, Ray is lucky that the Eagles have been a very successful franchise during his lifetime. You know even more than I do, Mike, what it's like for the Eagles to not be a successful franchise. You've seen it before. I'm lucky in that it only took me 22 years to get to a Super Bowl in my lifetime, but we know what it's like when you have a bad organization. We know what it's like when teams struggle to get playoff success, to get to the championship. We haven't had it often in this city. And the fact now that we are being spoiled with 2 Super Bowls in 3 years, 4 straight playoff appearances, I can't sit here and allow the ridiculousness to continue directed towards the head coach, directed towards the quarterback. It's absurd.
Well, you keep fighting that big fight, Daddy. You know what I'm saying?
Well, look,
you keep fighting it.
If fans would have had their way, and I've been critical of Roseman in the past, I never called for his job, though. I still acknowledge that he was one of the better GMs in the NFL. I just thought he struggled in identifying young defensive talent, something that he's fixed. But if fans would have had their way, Roseman would have been fired a decade ago.
Yeah, I get it. But I think people are looking at it right now more that this is the perfect configuration of good things that have happened rather than one man has guided them to a Super Bowl appearance. Because the fact is, The personnel department has done a fabulous job. The owner has done a fabulous job. Saquon Barkley turned out to be 100 times even better than we thought he was going to be. Jalen Carter has turned out to be the most dominant defensive tackle in the league. The two rookies that were selected by them and Howie Roseman and his staff turned out to be starting players and potential all-pros within a short period of time. It's the perfect configuration. The coordinators were the perfect coordinators. The one coordinator, the offensive coordinator, changed his stripes to maximize what the Eagles do best. The defensive coordinator hung in there for the first 4 games until he could get them to buy into the system. Like it's all of that. It's just not one guy who energized this team to achieve. And you look at it like it's Sirianni production.
No, I don't. I agree with you 100%. There's a lot of factors that go into it. There are. Now I'm going to get killed for making this comparison because I know Andy Reid is one of the greatest of all time. However, we don't hold it against Andy Reid that he has Patrick Mahomes and Steve Spagnuolo as his defensive coordinator. Andy Reid's not involved in the defense, but Steve Spagnuolo runs that defense, a very successful defense, a defense that helped get them to a Super Bowl and win a Super Bowl because of how good the defense was. Their offense this season for the Chiefs ranks 16th in the league. When you go back to last year, they didn't have this dominant offense. They were a very good defense under Steve Spagnuolo. But people don't look at it and say, Andy Reid doesn't deserve full credit for that Lombardi trophy. He's got Mahomes and Spagnuolo. There is this weird thing that people have towards Sirianni, and I get it, Mike. He mugged for the camera. I get we don't love him at press conferences. All I care about is wins, man, and the guy delivers them, just like the quarterback does.
We don't suffer snark gladly in this town. So when he went that way, we went, who the hell are you to do that? You don't have our trust. Who are you? What is this? And I think people really have a difficult time letting that go. 610-632-0975. We got Greg on the other side, and your call after this.
Fanatic Sports Update.
We have to wait how long? I'm Ray Dunn. This update is brought to you by Corona. Want to win tickets to a Sixers game? Enter for your chance to win at the Fanatics. Corona Sixers pregame party events happening all season long, hosted by our man Andrew Salciunas. For details, go to the events page on 975thefanatic.com. As the celebrations from Sunday's NFC Championship game victory fade into memories, we now turn to the long wait until the Eagles-Chiefs matchup in the Super Bowl for the Birds. It's the third Super Bowl appearance in 8 years and their second in the last 3 seasons. Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts will be the first head coach quarterback duo to appear in multiple Super Bowls for the franchise. Sirianni said that first experience made him hungrier this second time around.
I just thought about the next game, to be quite honest with you. It's like, this is a great feeling. We've had this feeling before, and it just makes you hungrier.
And the city is certainly hungry to get its second Lombardi trophy. A long wait till February 9th when the Eagles and Chiefs kick off from New Orleans. Elsewhere, Flyers won 4-2 over the Devils last night. The 76ers returned to action tonight against the Lakers. The Sixers beat without Joel Embiid, Paul George, Caleb Martin, KJ Martin, and Andre Drummond. You can hear the game right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. This update's also brought to you by Jackson Hewitt. It matters who does your taxes. Want expert tax prep? Jackson Hewitt will give you $100 to switch. Limited time offer for new clients. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com. I'm Ray Dunn on the home of the 76ers and the Flyers. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Not only can you listen to
25. Mike Missanelli Show, 97.5 Fanatic. Super Bowl win, 3 NFC titles, 4 NFC East titles, 7 playoff berths. All accomplished with 2 head coaches and 3 quarterbacks. That's what the Eagles have done. So their organization is tight. And I wonder how many people will jump on the Eagles bandwagon. What do you think, like, the national scope will be about this game? Who will the national scope favor? All these pundits get talking about, like, next week when they zero in on the game and they make a prediction. Where do you think it comes out, Bill?
Oh, man, it's tough because I feel like nationally, from a fan perspective, they're probably going to be rooting for the Eagles. I don't think a lot of people want to see the Chiefs win again. But from the national analysts, I got to believe they're going Kansas City.
National fan base would actually favor the Eagles here?
Yeah, I think people are over the Chiefs dynasty.
Really?
I think people don't want to see the Chiefs win it again. I mean, at least even trying to put my Eagles fandom
but what
aside.
about the Tay connection? You know, that sways a lot of people.
See, now this is interesting. And I heard a promo being run of Andrew Salciunas saying, you know, don't forget, Tay, that you were an Eagles fan. Because realistically, Jason Kelce, Taylor Swift, they should be rooting for the Eagles, not the Kansas City Chiefs, right? They won't. Now, Kelce, I don't think will choose an allegiance either way because it's his brother. But really, both of them should be rooting for Philly, no?
I don't know. Kelsey's heart should be with the Eagles organization, not one person who's his brother. Don't you think? I mean, he could, hope his brother has a great game, but the Eagles are his heart.
Yeah. That's going to be tough.
His brother doesn't speak for the whole franchise, the Kansas City Chiefs. His brother's just a player on the Chiefs. The Eagles are the organization that made him a Hall of Fame player.
I get that, but I don't know. Can he root against his brother's team?
He can't root against them, but I think deep inside, he would be partial to the Eagles winning. His brother's won before.
So, according to the YouTube chat,
listen, Philadelphia is now his brand, for crying out loud.
According to the YouTube chat, Jason Kelce said on his podcast that he will be rooting for the Eagles.
Well, there you go.
It's interesting.
I think that's a way to go.
Over your brother.
Yeah, but, dude, he's become a wealthy man. Why? Because of Philadelphia. His identity with the city and the team.
I give a lot of credit to Jason Kelce because I think that's the way he should go. But it's just interesting to say it.
Did his brother help him earn money? Did his brother help him be a Hall of Famer?
Well, they're on the podcast together.
Now, to be clear, on the podcasting front, unless this is something that's happened while we've been on the air today, the thing that's been circulating has been a clip from last year when this was not a reality. This was just a hypothetical.
So maybe can the YouTube chat confirm, is this year's podcast that he said it, or are you referring to last year?
Also will require you to hit the link, because some of you might just be reading a headline.
It's probably what to do. You know, people only read headlines,
That's
right?
what I'm saying. In the body of that article is the fact that podcast is old.
Marcus Hayes was killed last week because of a headline he didn't write. All right, so I'm curious how that'll be. I would think he's not going to choose an alliance. But he should root for the Eagles. But Taylor Swift, on the other hand, did grow up in this area.
She grew up in Wyomissing. I don't know. That's like outside of Reading.
I think they're Eagles fans.
Yeah, man, I'll be honest. We love you all out there. Thanks for listening. Thanks for hanging in with us.
Yeah,
choosing 97.5 The Fanatic.
We do have a lot of listeners in Reading. But I think my point is that it's kind of a la carte when you're that far away.
But you just said something.
Yeah.
A few minutes ago. The Eagles and the city are what made Jason Kelce his money, not his brother. I would argue that Jason Kelce, as entertaining as he is, as great as he is, would not have elevated to the heights of fame that he's elevated to, but for the support of the Swifties because of his brother dating.
You got to be kidding me.
You really think that Kelsey would be everywhere?
The guy he wouldn't be everywhere, but the guy forged a Hall of Fame career as a player for the Philadelphia Eagles. He goes to the Jersey Shore. He met his wife here. She's from Lower Merion. Philadelphia is his heart.
All true.
He's lived all these years with diehard fans, living and dying with his effort every Sunday.
All true. But he got thrown to national fame. A lot of because Travis Kelce started dating Taylor Swift. Look, I'm not taking anything away from Jason Kelce. He would have been a local hero forever. But on the national scale, it certainly helped that his brother started dating Taylor Swift.
He started the brand of the Kelces before Taylor Swift came along. He was this outspoken, honest guy that once he retired, the media people reached out for him. It wasn't because of Taylor Swift.
I'm not denying that. But you can't also deny that his fame grew with his brother dating Taylor Swift.
I totally disagree.
I'm not saying he wouldn't have been a star.
His brother's fame grew through dating Taylor Swift, not Jason.
Jason Kelce would have been a star regardless. I agree. I agree. But his star shined brighter with this.
You're grasping.
How?
It's a grasp.
We've talked about this before. That Jason Kelce hanging out in tailgates and doing things he used to do, he can no longer do anymore. And a lot of it was because he became a national celebrity because he's close to being Taylor Swift's brother-in-law.
He didn't become a national celebrity because of Taylor Swift. All that stuff was in the works before Taylor came into the picture.
Okay, let me ask you this. Yes or no question. Yes or no? Yes or no?
Does it hurt him? No, it doesn't hurt him. It didn't make him.
Yes or no? Does Jason Kelce have more fans now that his brother dates Taylor Swift than he did before Taylor Swift?
I can't even measure that because I don't think.
Well, I could just look at his social media following. His social media following grew exponentially the moment Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce announced that they were dating. Like, I don't understand why I'm battling an uphill battle. YouTube's killing me too. How can we deny that the Taylor Swift effect didn't have a positive impact on Jason Kelce? I'm not taking anything away from him, but it had a positive impact.
It may have had a little bit of an impact, but you're making it seem like it generated the whole character of Jason Kelce. It did not.
No, Jason Kelce would have still been a star. I'm just saying his star grew because of that effect.
All right.
It's like saying that, well, then you talked about this before. Why does the NFL, every broadcast, show Taylor Swift in the box? Why?
What does that have to do with Jason Kelce?
What does that have to do with anything then?
It has to do with Travis.
No, they show Taylor Swift because it helps their brand.
Of course, but they wouldn't show Taylor Swift if she wasn't dating Travis Kelce. It's the Travis Kelce connection to the broadcast that makes them show Taylor Swift.
You're never going to convince me otherwise. Jason Kelce would have been a star. He's a bigger star because of Swift. That's it.
I love the way you scan the YouTube chat. As I go on and look, and I see 6 comments that say Bill is right, and I see 1 that says you're wrong, and you're yelling as if the whole world's against you here.
I only see the negative.
Yeah,
there are people agreeing with me now.
Yeah, you need that. Greg and Bethlehem. Greg, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Greg.
Hey, guys.
What's up, Greg?
Well, I think we have 2 fairly evenly matched teams. I think the Eagles have a better squad. One of the things that occurred to me is Andy, with his seasoning, is more willing to kill the opponent with 1,000 cuts, and Hurts, Mahomes is willing to do it. So, they can dink and dunk all the way down the field, and I think it's going to be a major issue for the I'm sorry, I had another call, but for the
is that the Mad Elf distributor?
No.
What are you doing? A shipment coming in? Or
no.
Answer the door, would you please? The guys out there with a hand truck.
No, I don't think they even have it anymore. I think it's done for the season. Anyway, I think that Andy is more willing to be patient and take what's there and it's going to be a major issue for the defense. And I think it's going to be a shootout. I don't know if they're going to stop us, but I think it's going to be hard to stop them.
It's going to be hard for the Eagles to stop them?
Well, I think so. Unless we figure out how to stop those underneath throws that Mahomes seems to find all the time, while Ellie's falling sideways out of bounds. He just seems to be able to do that. So I think, the offense is going to do what they do, but the defense is really going to have the challenge.
Yeah. I get you. Listen, I don't sell Fangio short at all in this the particular situation. I think he's going to come up with a really good defensive game plan. The thing is, even if you come up with a good defensive game plan, that guy will bust it by making a play. He just will. It's like it's not a conventional situation.
He will, and I know, again, it's hard to quantify Mahomes, but if you look at the numbers this season, that is not a scary offense. They were middle of the pack or in the bottom of the NFL in almost every single meaningful offensive category.
I use the same thing you use with Sirianni. All they do is win.
That's true. That's why I said it's hard to quantify it that way. But they shouldn't be an offense that scares you. They're not a complete juggernaut of an offense, but Mahomes is on a different level.
All right. If you want to climb in, we got somebody who says it is this Taylor Swift effect. All right. Listen. All I said is, Jason Kelsey's heart is the Philadelphia Eagles. It's his brother, and he loves his brother. His heart is occupied by rooting for the Eagles, in my opinion.
Well, we got someone doing that, and they got someone else from Reading who wants you to know something about the Reading fans.
All right. Mike Missanelli Show continues. Mike Missanelli, so you got the Sixers tonight. Big game tonight at the center.
The King.
That's right. LeBron coming in with the Lake Show. This looks like the Lakers are only favored by 3.5, brother. That seems like a Sixer line to me. Sixers might pull it outright tonight. Now, they're missing some really important people. KJ Martin's out. Your boy Caleb Martin's out. You remember what I said about Caleb Martin at the beginning of the season?
Yeah, he's my boy no more.
What did I say? I don't think I've been wrong on anything I said about them. I recall saying to you, well, I don't know if it's Caleb Martin. He seems like a Miami system player.
Yeah, even though you never give me credit for being right more than I'm wrong, I'm going to give you a bunch of credit about being right about this Sixers team.
Andre Drummond out. Paul George is out tonight. Joel, of course, Jared McCain, both injured. But there's still only a 3.5-point doggy dog. All right, let's go to the chat board. What are they saying? It was the guy from Reading ripping me?
Oh, he's on the line.
Oh, he's on the line?
Yes.
Oh, Andrew? Oh, okay. Well, we'll get first to Tim in Jenkintown. Tim, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Tim?
Hey, Mike, it's absolutely Taylor Swift effect. I mean, you think nationally anybody gives a hoot about an offensive lineman? I mean, and it kind of started 2 years ago during the Super Bowl. Brothers playing each other. The parents became famous. And, just ask yourself, what's the most famous jersey in Philly amongst women?
Let me ask you a question. ESPN hired Jeff Saturday, right? He was a center who happened to be outspoken, and he could that wasn't the same for Jason Kelce. He was more outspoken. He was like the gruff football player who said stuff. That's why they hired him. It wasn't because of Taylor Swift.
Yeah, but hold on, Tim. Let me take this for a second. You're correct. I think he still would have got the job at ESPN. He still would have been an analyst. He would not have been on every single commercial when you watch a game or watch television. That put him on a national scale.
He's the football oaf. He's the Gronkowski with a brain. That's why he gets hired. Wait,
Tim,
why does Gronkowski get that kind of a profile?
Tim, talk some sense into him.
He's
Tim.
a football oaf.
We're just saying it went to another level. He is on every commercial. Women love him.
Because he's got that football everyday man appeal. That's why he gets the commercials, not because of Taylor Swift.
It is because of Taylor Swift. That's why they want her in the Super Bowl anyway.
This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. It's getting ridiculous. It's getting ridiculous. Taylor Swift is the reason why Jason Kelce gets commercials. It's so foolish. He was an outspoken, gruff center type of guy who fits perfectly in the football motif for a commercial. It's not because Taylor. Now, Travis will get a lot of stuff because of Taylor Swift, not Jason.
Hold on. I agree with you that there would have been opportunities for Jason Kelce. But the fact that you will not admit that he gets more opportunities on a national level because of the Taylor Swift connection is blowing my mind.
Well, keep getting your mind blown, Skippy. Andrew,
he dropped the Skippy on me.
Andrew and Reading, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Andrew.
Yeah, now, I don't even know. I've heard two terrible takes here. Tim sounds like a Steelers fan. Jason Kelce would have been big without Taylor Swift, no doubt. But my big issue is, born and raised outside of Reading here, we are not a la carte Eagles fans. We die.
All right.
Get him, Andrew.
So if the people in Y are missing where she's from.
Yeah. This whole area, all the way down Bleed, Eagles Green. There might be a few bonehead Steelers fans walking around, but we're chanting EAGLES Eagles all day.
All right, then I apologize to you. Because I know a lot of people from that area that they go Steelers or they go New York, whatever it is. But I'm okay. Now the Taylor Swift thing is interesting to me. You think that the Swift parents were Eagle fans?
No. Well,
they might have been, but now the father's in a tough spot. So what's he do? Does he root for the Eagles here, where his daughter's all gaga for a Chief?
Yeah, that's terrible. It's hard to say. You got to root for the Eagles, but let Travis get 40 yards and a touchdown, and they still lose by 40 points Sunday.
Yeah, they're not losing by 40. I don't know how this game's going to turn out. I really don't know. I think it's really up for grabs completely.
It is.
But a lot of the people say, "Well, it's rigged."
No,
it's rigged for the Chiefs. No, the Chiefs. That game they won against the Bills was rigged.
So
the officials calls it was rigged.
My
NFL's
wife's convinced that the Super Bowl logo thing is a real thing, where when the Super Bowl logo comes out, it has the colors before the season of the teams that are going to play. It's on again. You got green and red.
Yeah,
in the logo. But hold on, Taylor Swift. You talked about her. When I used to do my podcast, I had Ray Didinger on, and he reminded me, and then I was able to find the video of it. One of Taylor Swift's first public performances ever. She sang the national anthem before a Flyers or a Sixers game at I guess it was the Spectrum back then.
Really?
So her family, they're Eagles fans.
Yeah, okay. Well, no, she can't be at this point. Like,
who's not going to be
if
wearing?
The Eagles weren't playing the Chiefs, she wouldn't be in the building. Maybe she would be rooting for the Eagles in her mansion in Connecticut.
Oh, we know Kylie.
Rhode Island. I'm sorry, it's in Rhode Island.
Kylie will be rooting for the Eagles. That's for sure. I'm sure she'll tell us on her new podcast.
Kylie who? Jenner?
Kelsey.
Oh, Kylie.
Jason's wife.
Kelsey.
She refused to wear even Chiefs gear. So she'll be rooting for the Birds.
Where was I? I was at the airport, and I was like this. What airport was it? Was Charlotte? Kylie's got a big cosmetic or perfume.
Back to Jenner here we're talking about?
Kylie Jenner.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's in Philly.
It is?
Yeah, but I think it's...
it says Kylie on it with her picture.
Yeah. One of them have one in Philly.
I was at the Sixer game one night, and Kylie was there. I was in the VIP room.
Oh, that's when she was dating Ben, right?
Yeah. I was in the VIP room with her. I took a picture of her.
Was it Kylie that dated him, or was it Kendall?
Oh, that's a good question.
It was Kendall. You're right. It was Kendall.
Wait, Kendall Jenner dated?
Yeah, it was Kendall. That's good call by you, Ray.
Good job, Ray. I like Kylie a little better.
Keeping up with my Kardashians.
You watch that show?
No.
Well, then you're not keeping up with them.
I mean, I just had the Ben Simmons anecdote. That was about all I got.
Do you have any embarrassing guilty pleasure shows that you've watched, a show like that you enjoyed?
I used to watch Jersey Shore. My daughter reminds me of this all the time. She was calling me, and I texted her back. I said, "I'll call you after Jersey Shore."
That was an entertaining show.
She couldn't get over it. The first year of it I thought was entertaining. Then it just got
yeah, I think I watched maybe the first 2 seasons of it. I thought it was funny too. And the thing is, being a guy from Jersey, it was wild that none of the people on that show were from New Jersey.
It really it was embarrassing for the Italian race, to be honest with you, when you think about it.
You don't have a GTL shirt? Well, Jim Tanning Laundry? No. I can see Mikey Miss rocking the GTL.
No. Nick in the Ewing, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Nick.
Hey, what's up, Mike?
What's going on, Nick?
Ray, love the show. So I want to talk about the Eagles and what they can do to win this game and send Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce home crying. So one of the key points, of course, is offense. They're going to have to score points and keep Patrick Mahomes off the field. The defense is going to have to put pressure on Mahomes. Like Jalen Carter and the whole defensive front is going to have to put pressure on them. And then what I've noticed, what they do is like on special teams, from the Green Bay game up until this game, they've been turning, the opposing teams have been turning the ball over on special teams. Green Bay did it, and then Washington did it on Sunday. So special teams is going to have to be a factor, especially when you give the ball to Jalen Hurts and keep Patrick Mahomes off the field. I don't know if you guys agree.
No, I agree. I think that the more you keep Patrick Mahomes off the field, but I worry about when he has blitzed Hurts. I know Hurts has had some success, but Spagnuolo has been able to blitz him into mistakes, and that's the only thing I worry about because his blitzes are really difficult to decipher, and that's one of the things I don't think Jalen has done that well this year is to decipher what's going on out there.
Right, and that's why, Saquon is so important, because you don't want, Jalen Hurts to, have the load on him all the time, and when you get the ball to a guy like Saquon, who's like versatile and speed and strength,
that goes without saying. They're going to give him the ball. There's no question they're going to give him the ball, and he's going to get his 100 and something. But Kansas City can score. So you're going to have to score with them.
Right.
Oh, we'll see what happens with that. All right, it's time for closing arguments.
Now, closing arguments on the Mike Missanelli Show. Brought to you by Lowenthal and Abrams Injury Attorneys. Injured in an accident, call 800-876-LAWYER or visit LowenthalAbrams.com.
Well, this is the calm before the storm time, man. We've got a lot of days to talk about the Eagles and the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. We'll have different angles every day. My angle right now is the Chiefs are a slight favorite in the game. I don't know that that means anything, but like I said before, the Eagles have accomplished, I think, a magnificent achievement here. They're in the Super Bowl, and they beat teams they were supposed to beat to get there. I don't know that if they don't win this game that I'm going to be overly devastated. I know a lot of people will be, but like I say, I look at this pragmatically. If you get beat by a team that I think is better, as I watch a game, I go, I can't be disappointed with that. You know, this team and the achievements they've had over the last several years have been fantastic, and a lot of credit goes to the head coach that I doubted. So that's my closing argument to that, Bill.
Yeah, Mike, don't have a lot of time, but I don't disagree. Losing to an inferior team would be hard to swallow. Not necessarily a dynasty like the Chiefs, but we'll continue to break it down because I don't think this team's losing.
All right, we'll talk about it tomorrow, General Knowledge Wednesday. We have some great prizes tomorrow. I kid you not. So tune in tomorrow for General Knowledge Wednesday. Everybody have a great rest of the night. Talk to you then.
Lombardi Trophy, and it's a long wait until February 9th when the Eagles and Chiefs kick it off from New Orleans for the Super Bowl. Elsewhere in Philadelphia sports, the Flyers won 4-2 over the